You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kirsten.
The Big Show.
Yeah, it's the big show. It's Capitals on Tap. Yeah, thought you knew. Some say that karma is a bitch. Can you blame them? Yeah, I can't. Not at all. Here it is. Liz, my friend, stayed in a haunted hotel. She was terrified. A lot like the Calgary Flames were in the shootout, wouldn't you say? Yeah. Caps on Tap is the name of this show. You're listening to it. Your host, Kevin Kierstead. Tonight, we're going to talk about this hockey game between the Washington Capitals and the Calgary Flames. How about it? I got a few things I have to admit to right off the bat. Number one, we were down 3-0 in the first. I thought we'd lost. My faith was gone. It was gone. Does that make me a bad fan? I don't know. I'll leave that up to you to say. Number two, I surely didn't think OV was going to pull two off tonight. No, didn't think it at all. He didn't look like he was that into it. I don't know if I got this sense. See, I use my gut when I watch a Caps game, as I have since 1974. I'm sitting there going, what's OV thinking about? This is in the first period. Is he thinking about the Olympics already? Because we still got several months before he's actually playing. You know, I realize he just ran with the torch. Is he thinking about, is he thinking about the loss a couple nights ago to the Blackhawks and still steaming over that because we played so well? What's he thinking about? I couldn't figure it out, but whatever it was, and maybe it was done with a locker room pep talk, it was abolished in between the first and second periods because my man Ovechkin, for those of you not in the know, the Russian pronunciation is Alexander Ovechkin. See, on this show, we're going to make you a smarter Caps fan base, not just an informed one, which are two different things. They may sound similar. They're brother and sister, but we need both siblings in order to have a complete fan. And let me remind you what you're listening to here.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kirsten.
And yeah, that's what it is. It's Caps on Tap, the daughter of Truth on Tap. But what I'd like to do, if this is your first time into the show, and we'll get your calls in a minute, we'll get your text on the air. Did you recognize that voice, my friends? Did you recognize that voice at all? The voice that just did the voiceover? Who knows what that voice was? I'm going to go over here to the chat and see if we have anybody who knows what that voice was. And then you're also welcome to call in. You can call in at 910-NO-LINE. If you don't know how to get to the chat, go to Spreaker.com/user/truthontap. And you'll see a live episode playing. Click on that one. And then over underneath, you'll see this kind of a playing bar with the name of the show, and it says live. Over to the right of that, you'll see a explicit and then a little heart icon. The next icon over is the chat window, and that'll pop that open and get to chatting with me. Your chats will be read on the air to the extent I am able to. This show will last from 1 to 3 hours, depending on how much you want to talk. That's how that'll go. I'm only going to do shows after wins because I have learned the hard way that people don't like to talk much after a loss. Yeah, human nature. Should have known. I really should have, but I'm kind of new coming into the radio media. And, yeah, you know, I learned. The mother show of Caps on Tap being Truth on Tap, where I talk about just about everything, but mostly social issues. I'll go all the way into the paranormal and everything in between, though. Focuses around truth, around getting... sometimes you have to trim off a little bit of sugarcoating to get to the truth. I don't like to be raw and mean, so I avoid that. But sometimes you have to trim it off to get to the real truth, don't you? So I do that on Truth on Tap, and I let that seep right on down into Caps on Tap. In other words, we got to stay away from the formalities and just get into the gritty, the reality. What this show will focus on, it'll allow emotion. You can be emotional on this show, but it's also going to stay on the nitty-gritty truths. That means sometimes we're going to have to offend our own team, doesn't it? Yeah, sometimes we have to compliment other teams. That's a bitch. But, it'll be honest. It'll be accurate. It'll give you a river of information that is, for lack of a better term, reality. It's not up for debate. It's just fact. Just fact, but fun. And we'll keep it fun. However, to keep it fun, I'm going to need your calls, people. I'm going to need you to get in on the chat. I can't do this alone. I can talk for exactly 173,000 years straight about the Capitals, but it's not a show if you're not participating. I need my fellow Caps fans in here participating. What's it going to take, man? I'm giving you airtime. The show is gaining listeners quickly. I'm giving you airtime as the show goes on and picks up even more listeners. They're going to listen to old episodes. You got your chance, man, right now. Right now, you can get in on the chat. Call in, 910, no lying. Tell you a little about me before we get started on the game. I am just a guy. Yeah, there you go. Capitals fan since 1974. I was a couple years old. You can do the math. I've always loved the team. That is the year they were born, for those that didn't know. I would call myself a 7 on a 10 scale, Capitals knowledge, NHL knowledge. One of the things I'm doing in this broadcast business, I've done, 40 or 50 episodes on these two shows, is get away from and so I'm going to work on that even tonight. Therefore, there may be some silences. Please don't be uncomfortable with them. Other times when you may hear small silences, it's because I'm taking a drink of my coffee or taking a drag off of my filthy cigarette. This show is a cursing one, and it's not a cursing one because I find cursing classy. I do find that sometimes cursing will add a little emphasis to a statement, but mostly because I don't like to block anything. Sometimes cursing is just part of the natural flow. So we leave that there, and that excludes a lot of listeners for me. I understand that. It pushes out those parents that, your kids are still awake or your kids are around. It pushes away those that are too classy or religious, say, to curse. I get it. I wish you wouldn't judge me for that, but I get it. But what it does is it keeps everything raw and real, doesn't it? Yeah, we'll allow the cursing. Basically, I'd allow just about anything on this show that you'd see on some of the most extreme shows on radio or TV. Where we stop is basically talking about illegal activity, okay? If you can imagine the 3 to 5 worst crimes that could be committed. If you get into details, talking stuff like that, maybe saying you love them and you wish you could do one of those crimes, and yeah, we're not going to talk about that. So that's when I'll click and hang up on you. Don't make me do that. Everything else goes. You can call in, cuss me out. As there's two types of people I go after. That's bullies and full-time assholes. Anybody's allowed to be a part-time asshole. I'll give you a break there. Call in, cuss me out, disagree with everything I say, and you will not be cut off. You will be given your airtime, and I will even make you look good. I'm not going to try to battle you, but I will present my argument in a fair and just way. I sure will. But I'm not going to let you look bad. I've got enough problem getting callers into this show. So be comfortable. Call in. Believe in what you believe in. It's cool. Even if you're wrong about a factoid here or there, shit happens, I put up a Facebook status earlier congratulating Grabowski for his first NHL goal. Yeah. You're going, well, what the fuck was he talking about? Did you mean Carrick? Yeah, I did. I meant Carrick. But hell, Locker called Nuvi Varley earlier. I mean, can't we make mistakes? Can't we make mistakes from the lowest announcer on up to the top? I think we can. I think we should allow for that. Don't hang anybody on it. How about that game tonight, folks? Yeah. Calgary Flames, Washington Capitals, home opener for the Capitals. Now, I thought we played an excellent game, and if you haven't heard it, I encourage you to listen to the show that I did a couple of nights ago after we played those Chicago Blackhawks. Hell, I thought it was a beautiful game. And I said to you and to myself, what I said was, if this is some sort of microcosmic view of of how we're going to play. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. The score wasn't so revealing, was it? It wasn't so revealing. They left, but let's stop and say, who were we playing? And you're going, Kevin, when are you going to get into tonight's game? I'll get into it when I damn well please. It's my show. Don't you love that shit? Oh, my God, I love having my own radio show. I don't care if I have 10 million listeners or 10 listeners. I will sound the same. That's how much I love this show. I'm not nervous about it. I've beaten my fear of public speaking. And you can do that, by the way. If you haven't learned to do that, I can teach you in 1/2 of an hour how to completely conquer the fear of public speaking. The audio show, I don't use notes here. Sometimes I use notes on the Caps one, but never on the Truth on Tap one. I don't use notes. I don't have scripts. I go from the heart. I'm not using any notes tonight, even though I took some on the game. You can go over to Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio. That's where I got my start. Look for Truth on Tap. And you'll see a list of radio shows there. One of them will be something like Beating Your Fear of Public Speaking. The audio quality kind of sucks because Blog Talk Radio has a few ways to call in to host your show, but of the ways available to me at the time, I had to use a cell phone, so the quality kind of sucks. But if you can endure that, the show will teach you in 1/2 of an hour or less how to completely conquer your fear of public speaking. Public speaking is something everybody pretty much needs to do in their life. We are now in an age of media. That means the chances of you getting on TV or getting on a radio show, voluntary or otherwise, are pretty friggin' high. Okay? So what you ought to do is go conquer your fear of public speaking now, even if you don't think you need to. Conquer it. Kill it. It's silly. It's a silly thing to have. What, you're worried about people who are going to think about what you say? Look at some of the shit we listen to now on TV. Come on now. Kill the fear. Admit to yourself that maybe what you're saying is wrong, maybe what you're saying is stupid, but by God, don't be ashamed of it. Don't be ashamed of it. Just say it. Just speak from the heart. People will love you for it. They won't care what you say. Go listen to that if you want to beat this, so that you're not nervous to call into this show. It's kind of important to me, you know. I don't want people calling in here whose voices are shaking and they're about to fall on the floor through anxiety. That would be bad. So I'm sitting here and looking. I don't know, because I changed the format of the call-in. I don't know if it's even going to work tonight. I'm just hoping it will. You're going to be calling a Google Voice number. That's 910 no lying. Very easy to remember because it's one number short of 911. You get it? 910 no lying. 910-665-9464. Call in and tell me how you feel about this game tonight and how you feel about the Capitals in general. If you want to talk about something else, we can drift off topic here and there. You know, you want to talk a little bit about Wah and him getting all ugly up in Gabby's face? Shocked me a little bit, and yet didn't, you know, after I thought about it. Yeah, a lot of times that'll happen with me. I'll be shocked at something in the NHL, and then I'll think about it and go, well, shit, I should have expected this, actually. Yeah, call on into the show, get on into the chat. It is, to find the show, if you're already listening to it, you may know this or may not, but it's www.spreaker.com. It's like speaker, but with an R after the P, /user/truth-on-tap. Once you go to that site, you'll see one show playing live. Click that one to start the play. And then the chat icon is down in the lower right by the heart icon. You'll see that. I'm going to go ahead and type something in here to let you guys know I'm in here. Kev is here. Chat away. Yeah, so that came up. All right, so that was at 10:34. So tonight we're watching the Caps. They get their start. I'm skipping a here. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. The start was not necessarily slow. There was actually a pretty good bit of speed in the start. But it looked almost like the Caps in the first period didn't want to use their talent. They didn't mind skating hard, didn't mind poke checking. None of that bothered them. But they didn't want to open up, did they? Locker called it a flat performance. And I'm careful not to say that because I saw energy, and to me flat means no energy. But it was flat in flavor, wasn't it? Yeah, that first period, you just didn't see a lot of greatness. You didn't see greatness in hits. You didn't see greatness in any tic-tac-toe plays. You surely didn't see any greatness in goal. And let's start there. Mr. Holtby, outstanding goalie. Would you agree? I think he is. I think he's got a long and prosperous career here in the NHL. Secondly, I don't think it was his fault tonight. I think two of them were the team's fault. One, he should have stopped on his own, but it was a very tough shot, short side high there. There was 3 square inches for that puck to get through, and it found it. So Holtby, he's been off a little bit in the last couple games, but to me, he's the kind that takes a long time to warm up. Not only in a game, but in a season. Have you noticed that? First 5 or 10 games, and yeah, marginal, sometimes bad. Then he just fucking lights it up. By the time he's in the playoffs, he's a steel wall. Let's hope that continues. We got to fix the time it takes for this goalie to warm up. We got to fix that if he's going to sign a long-term contract with us. Whether that takes more activity in the preseason, more fire in training camp, or even something so simple as warming up harder before a game, having a bunch of shooters shoot at him, get him skating hard, board to board for 15 minutes, whatever it takes to get his brain to that point where, wow, now I'm working, now I found my zone. You need to start the game in the zone. You don't need to find your zone halfway into the game, okay? And that goes for any NHL player. We'll talk more about that later, if I remember. Sometimes I have problems remembering stuff I promised later in a show, and I will require that you remind me about it. Excuse me there. I was getting over a cold. It was surely going around my part of the world here in southeastern Virginia. Up until 2010, for about 3 years, on and off, I was living right up there near D.C. in northeastern Virginia, and or Nova, as they like to call it, Northern Virginia. And I was able to make a lot of Caps games, which was great because even though I've been a lifelong fan, I haven't been close enough to the arena to really realistically make a lot of games. I've always lived far, far away, or as I am now, at least 3 or 4 hours away. Plus, it's expensive. Let's face it, it's expensive to go to hockey games, and the Caps are no exception there. But while I was up there, roughly 2007 to 2010, I probably got in 30 games, if you count the preseason ones. My first game was a playoffs game. We lost. It was against Pittsburgh. It was the 5th game of that round. You know, what a beautiful thing it is to be at a Capitals game. And by the way, that voice you heard on the voiceover, yeah, that was Wes Johnson. Now, some of you are going, damn it, I knew. Damn it, I knew. I just couldn't, it was right on the tip of my tongue. Some are going, who the hell is Wes Johnson? Shame on you. That second group, shame on you. Wes Johnson is the Capitals arena announcer. There is no greater voice that will ever come over speakers. Every time I do a show that I mention Wes Johnson, I have to compare him to some legend or star from the past. So far, I've compared him to such as Merlin, as, there goes an shit. Merlin, as Freddy Krueger, who gets into your game, not your dreams, and murders boredom, not people. Yeah. As Nikola Tesla, because he crawls up into the wires and the speakers and electrocutes you with 10 trillion gazillion volts, and here you are sitting in a seat, and you find yourself 3 rows back. Then you go, what's going on? I'm dancing, but I don't want to dance. I'm not good at dancing, but I'm dancing anyway. How is this happening? Watch. If you're sitting at home watching on TV, you'll see people dancing in Capitals jerseys that look terrified. It's because they don't want to be dancing. Wes forces them to dance with his voice. Yeah, they may look like Beavis or Butthead. They might look like MC Hammer. They may have a big foam finger and look like Miley Cyrus. Who knows? But Wes is going to make you move. That's what he does. And he's much more than just a voice. He's got a history in radio and voiceovers for all the major video games. He's got an acting career. Go check him out if you want at wesjohnson.com. He's on IMDb. He's on Facebook. It's W-E-S and Johnson, the way it's normally spelled, Johnsson. I'm still thinking about what star I'm going to compare him to tonight. So if you want to help me, you can. I'm not gonna turn away help, but I have to compare him to someone different every time I talk about him. That's my promise to him for the season. So, and there has to be some connection. Like, you can't just say, "Oh, he's George Washington." Well, okay, why? Did he cross the Delaware? I don't know. Yeah, we're not talking about that. Being it a fact that I am not a professional broadcaster, I have not learned how to talk for more than 45 minutes, say, without my vocal cords feeling like dried up spaghetti. Therefore, what I do is I will play some songs, just a couple, to give my voice a break, to give you a break from listening to my voice. And most of the time I'm playing songs by a group called Bad Ace. It's a local group. I support my local artist. They're an excellent group. Find them at badace.com. And sometimes I'll download some random songs from like CC Mixter or any site that has public domain songs, just ones that are kind of popular. So you're hearing a good song, at least according to the people, that you've probably never heard before. I kind of like doing that, and I like doing it in such a random way that I don't even know what the song is. I just know the title, and I'm listening to it for the first time as well. So I'll throw that in for you. That'll be about once an hour. And depending on how long this show goes, that'll give you how many times you're going to hear Bad Ace or a random, public license, public domain song. We'll go with that. Washington Capitals tonight turning it on at the beginning of the second period and not turning it off until they were victorious. I was majorly impressed. There were only a few players that I could sit here and honestly tell you need to still improve their game. There were only a few Washington Capitals that I can honestly tell you didn't put it all out tonight or screwed up some. Yeah, I don't like to beat up my Washington Capitals anyway. Keep a couple things in mind here. You want to identify a new fan or a bandwagon fan. First thing you're going to notice, they blame the goalie for everything, right? Second thing you're going to notice is they're enraged. Aren't they? Oh, they're enraged. Especially, if we lose a game, they're enraged. Oh, they're calling, usually the goalie, but they're calling people out constantly. He sucks. We need to trade him. He sucks. And you're going, okay, what is really going on there? You want me to tell you? I got a little background in psychology. Yeah. What's going on there, what the new fan is saying is, and I'm not trying to beat up the new fan. The more fans, the merrier. Come on, Washington Capitals fans, stick with us. But chill on this stuff, okay? Learn the game. Learn the history of the Capitals before you start talking too much. Now, the new fan, as I was saying, will blame the goaltender. What he's really, and then he'll start calling out players one by one. That guy sucks. We need to trade him. And they're enraged. They're mad. What they're saying is, hey, you, stranger, I know my team. I know them. I'm really smart about them. I know the sport of hockey. I'm really smart about it. And I am such a demander of greatness, because I'm a connoisseur of hockey, if you will, that I get enraged when I see bad play from my players. Yeah, that's your new fan there. Easiest way to pick them out of a crowd. For some of you that are new fans, you're listening going, holy shit, he just described me. Don't run away. I'm not trying to chase you off. The more Capitals fans, the better. I'm just saying, people know. So just chill out, listen and learn. You can always scream for your Caps. Just don't become George McPhee overnight. Take some time. Take some time to become that wise. And some of you are arguing right now, George McPhee isn't wise. Well, call in and prove it to me. Get in on the chat and prove it to me. It's here, available for you. All you've got to do is go to Spreaker.com/user/truthontap or call in 910-665-9464. That's 910-NO-LYING. Yeah, we keep it honest here. That's for sure. No, there goes an as I said earlier, and I just did it again, I'm going to be fighting uhs and ums. I had them beaten already, and I started using them again lately. I don't know. It's like a bad habit. It's a relapse into and land. So I'm trying to kill those again and kill them permanently. Therefore, you're going to hear some moments of silence, short ones, if we can keep it that way. I'm looking down the box score right now because I'm not going to use my notes tonight. I'm too happy to use notes. Oh, there it goes. Shit. Okay, well, I'm going to stop saying there it goes shit. First period, Calgary scores, D. Jones, assist, S. Monahan. First period again at 10:13, Calgary scores, Stepniak with a wrist shot, assist Giordano and Backlund. 16:22, Calgary scores again. It's a power play goal, Jay Hudler, not Hudler. Slap shot, assist T. Brody, Giordano. Then the second period starts, right? And one of the most beautiful things that could ever happen to a player for his first NHL goal happened. And we're going to relive it because we like to do that, don't we, NHL fans? Yeah, we like to relive the glory. Let's relive this one. We're in the second period. We're at the 7:30 mark. Well, actually, at this time, we're at about the 7:10 mark. Poor Connor Carrick has gone to the box. People hate you when you're in the box, don't they? They say, when you're playing at home, they say, well, you're giving the other team a chance. And that was a dumb penalty because no penalty is a smart penalty, except maybe when you have to go after somebody for hurting one of your players. That's a smart penalty. Or when you have to trip somebody who's got a breakaway because you know they're going to score because they're that good. That could be a smart penalty if you're careful with it and maybe just get an interference rather than getting them a penalty shot. There are smart penalties out there, but most are dumb. Most give the other team a good chance to score. So here we are hating on Carrick. Here we are losing 3-0. Not real happy about life at this point. All right. So Connor Carrick sneaks out of the box. Mojo doing something great for a change, and we'll talk more about him later, sees it happening, and so do 3 or 4 of the Flames, but they're too late. He gets behind the defense, breaks in to the offensive zone, okay? He knows he's going to score. I can see it in his face. There's just no question, that he's going to score. I saw it when the pass was made, okay? When Ramo set up this shot, he didn't come out to challenge him. He stayed timid in the paint. And sure enough, here comes Carrick. Forehand, backhand, forehand, lamp. You understand? He was not going to be denied. He had time to think about what he was going to do. What an amazing, amazing shot. And for his first NHL goal, to come out of the box with people hating on you and say, quickly, Capitals fans, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I just did. I'm sorry for giving them that chance. First, let's give a hand to our PK. All right, so here's Connor Carrick giving a speech in between the time he has to get the puck and make the breakaway and score. I'm sorry, Capitals fans. I just gave them a chance because I did a dumb penalty, didn't I? I'm sorry. What I'm going to go do to make up for it the moment I step out of this box is score a motherfucking goal. Okay? Beautiful way to get your first goal. And did you watch his face as the game went on? Yeah, he couldn't stop thinking about it. And normally I would say, shame on you. Even though it was your first goal, you got to get your mind back in the game, okay? Yes, you had a great moment there, and you're going to relive it 1,000 times. But right now, we got to get the win. Not tonight. Not tonight. Tonight, we got the win. I'm going to give you a break, Connor Carrick. I'm going to say, hey, okay, you were thinking the whole game about that goal and how poetically perfect it was. Rock on, Connor Carrick. But in the future, when you do something great, get your mind off of it and back into the game and do more things great, okay? What a beautiful first goal. What a picture-perfect first goal in the NHL. We salute you from Caps on Tap with a full military-like honor. And I could say that because I'm ex-Air Force. Connor Carrick getting his first NHL goal tonight in the Verizon Center, a.k.a. the phone booth. What a beautiful, beautiful play it was. Mojo, who's been slacking his ass off lately, got quietly a few assists tonight. He's been sneaky on the passing. He's been staying pretty good with that, but he's not using his speed. You know how Chimera comes always using his speed? Yeah, Mojo not so much. Mojo's got just as much speed as Chimera. He's right there neck and neck with him if they had a race, but he won't use it. Why is that? Anybody figured that out? Anybody figured out why Oates and staff will put up with it? I haven't. Don't put up with that. That's lack of effort. You've got speed. You need to break away, whether it's getting back on D or making an offensive break just to give it a off-balance number, you know. Put a 3-on-2 up there because you're skating fast. Mojo, good passing, sucky skating, okay? You got to do something, buddy. Anyway, he did something tonight. Made that pass right up the middle to Connor Carrick, seeing the obvious opportunity that lay in front of him. Had he not seen that, I don't know. It would have taken me a couple months to forgive him for that. Yeah. And anybody in his spot. It would have just totally pissed me off. If you have not yet, you can call in 910-NO-LYING. I'm hoping that it works tonight. Not sure. It's a Google Voice number, and I've recently changed my configuration. So hopefully that'll work tonight. Tonight's broadcast should sound pretty good to you. It's a 80 kbits per second, which is as low as I can go for my internet connection to make sure it stays smooth while not letting the music sound shitty, you know, because ultimately music would like a higher kbits per second to get that clean sound in, but I can't do that over a DSL connection. So we're using 80 kbits per second. Great for talk, but not always as great for music. But I've turned on a couple filters and played with some settings, and I think I got my music sounding okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and remind you what you're listening to here.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Yeah, and it's Caps on Tap. Wes Johnson there doing my voiceover, the infamous. I'm still thinking about which great legend to compare him to tonight. I will take your ideas, but I don't need your ideas for that. I certainly am creative enough to figure out who to compare Wes Johnson to each night I do a show that involves his name. Because he plays so many characters, it makes it easy for me. But yet, I try to pick the highest quality comparisons, so I do take my time. I'm going to load up a couple of songs here. We've been broadcasting for 32 minutes and 35 seconds, but I'm not going to play them just yet. Still waiting for you to get in. We're going to load up Bad Ace in Your Life. And some of the other songs I wanted to add, I don't think I've added into the playlist yet, so I'm going to go do that. Add files, recent places here. Let's go to, is it downloads? I think it is. Yeah, there we go. Let's go to date created. The opposite way. Yep, Washington Capitals putting the smackdown comeback victory on Calgary tonight. Did you like it? Did you like how that felt? I did. And as I confessed early in this show, I wasn't a believer. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. I believe we had lost this game when we were down 3-0 in the first. I didn't see what I needed to see to believe that we could win. But the Capitals proved me wrong. Now, let this not be a habit, Washington Capitals. Let this not be a habit that you have to come so far from behind. We know, those of us that pay attention, that over the past 4 or 5 years, we love coming from behind. We can't stand having a 1-goal lead, can we? Oh, we just can't stand it. Got to give them the puck back. We'll score on ourselves if we got a 1-goal lead. We only enjoy coming from behind. That's not good. Okay, things like that, thinking like that, is what keeps us out of the Stanley Cup Finals. What Mr. Oates needs to do, and staff, is train the Capitals such that even when they're 2 or 3 goals ahead, that they continue to play as if they were trying to come from behind. That's not going to be an easy task, but I don't see it even being worked on right now. We can't always love coming from behind, because sometimes when you're coming from behind, you're not coming, are you? Yeah, you just stay behind. Oh, the effort might be there, but depending on the performance of the other team's defense and goaltender, and really offense, because the best defense is a good offense, isn't it? They put a couple more in, you're done. Yeah, we don't want to always be trying to come from behind. let's not be afraid to get a couple goal lead and hold on to it. Not do what Calgary did tonight, letting a 3-goal lead twice go in order to lose the game to us. Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit about them and how they played. I am looking right now in my computer's downloads for some new songs. And they're here. I know they're here. Music to play. Pod save. All right, there's some of them, but not enough, not enough. I think what I'm going to do is go download some more during the break. So instead of giving you that random song from CC Mixter, I'm going to go ahead and give you 2 Bad Ace songs. That'll give you a break, give me a break, and let us go on with the show. I need some help from those of you listening, getting some more listeners in here. Please go share the link of the show you're listening to. Click in your address bar, right-click, select copy, and go share it on your social networks. Right-click and paste. Share it on your social networks, whether through email or Facebook or Twitter. Let's get some folks in here. We need somebody talking about the Capitals from a fan perspective. We got plenty talking about the Capitals from a pro perspective with their, deals and their sponsors, making them curb their enthusiasm, if you will. And we don't want to do that. We keep it all real here. Fan perspective show. I'm no better than you, and I'm no worse than you. See? I'm just one of you. I'm just good at getting conversations going and keeping them going. There's my strength. I have very few strengths. That's one of them. I'm loading this song up here. I'm looking for a second one. I like one of their songs is kind of long. It's like almost 6 minutes long, called Reality Check. I like that one. So with the 2 songs that I'm going to play here for you, with the 2 songs, it's going to take about 10 minutes total. So that'll give you about a 10-minute break just to chill and listen to music, go do your business, whatever you need to do, and listen to a great band perform a couple of songs that are lovely songs. Again, this is Bad Ace. Badace.com is where you can find them. They tend to play gigs from south as far as Virginia Beach to north and west as far as Richmond. Most of that in the middle, around the Northern Neck area. That's Gloucester, Yorktown, Matthews, Middlesex, all those areas. Deltaville, Bad Ace about to play for you In Your Life, followed by Bad Ace's Reality Check. And if you're ready,
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Never had a feeling this quick as this before. Although I've loved plenty, none was loved anymore. I've got you dancing in my mind every minute of every day. But I just feel so well out to find the words to say. But I want you, and I always in my arms. But I need to, baby, protect you from any harm. Oh, I don't want to scare you away. I don't want to suffocate you, baby. I give you your space. You say you want to touch your mama, I got plenty to pay. But I just feel so early to find the words to say. But I want you, now always in my arms. But I need to, baby, touch you all day long. Oh, I know that soon the time will come that I will be the only one in your life. Oh, Lord, yeah. As I hold you softly, deep within my eyes, I can't help but thinking maybe this is paradise. I've never dreamed I'd hold you in all my living days, but I just feel so right, baby, to find the words to say. That I want you, now always in my arms, that I need to, baby, offer you the stars. Oh, I know that soon the time will come that I will be the only one. Oh, I know that soon the time will come that I will be the only one in your life. Although I've loved pain, none was loved anymore. You say you want attention, mama, I got plenty to pay. But I just feel so well, baby, to find words to say. That I want you, always in my home. That I need to, baby, protect you later on. Oh, I know that soon the time will come. That I will be the only one. Oh, I know that soon the time will come. That I will be the only one. That I will be the only one in your life. When I first saw you, I was just 16. Then you became my high school dream. I didn't tell anyone my feelings for you. I kept them balled up inside. I didn't realize, no, you felt it too. My friend told me you were interested, and my heart dropped to the floor because you didn't know just how I felt. I kept it hidden so well. You didn't realize, no, I felt it too. I didn't know that I could feel this way, leaving on such a rainy day. I didn't know a feeling of this kind. Feels so good inside. Feeling this way. I went to see you, but you weren't at home. But you called later on, sitting lonely by the telephone. We talked a little while, yeah, and I made you laugh. And then on the next day, I walked you to class. We didn't realize, no, we felt this way. My high school dream had finally come true. We were together as one. Only to find it would be short-lived, no. Because of some things that I had done. We didn't realize she knew so well. We didn't realize that she would tell. We didn't realize, no, it wasn't meant to be. I didn't know that I could feel this way, even on such a sunny day. I didn't know a feeling of this kind. Feels so bad inside. Feeling this way. conversation. You knew just what to say. You held you in my arms and never let you go. And I realized I love you evermore. I didn't realize, I felt so strong for you. Feeling this way.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Yeah. You just heard them, Bad Ace, the legendary band. They play. They're not disbanded or anything. No pun. They're not retired. They play live. And you can find them at badace.com, just like it sounds, like ace in a card deck. Yeah, badace.com. You can also find them on Facebook, and they're probably in about a million other parts of the interweb. Look them up, do the Google Gaggles, goggle giggle, and see what you find there. We're talking about the game. This is Caps on Tap. Your host is Kevin Kierstead. Tonight, the Capitals took it in a shootout, in very affirmative fashion, wouldn't you say? Got off to a slow start. Holtby did let in one soft one. The D let him hang on 2 goals, which weren't his fault, in my opinion. As I've said before, a good goalie is going to stop 9 out of 10. You know this. I mean, that's a 900. Give me a 900 goalie. I'm happy. Sometimes they're going to blow 3 games in a row, and then they'll have 3 shutouts. I mean, that's the way it works. What you want is a goalie that's 900 or above in save percentage. So they're going to stop 9 out of 10. That's all we can ask from a goalie. Don't blame the goalie for everything. It's just, Now, if the goalie has a shitty night, once in a while you'll see a coach leave him in. Why is he doing that? Anybody know? Yeah, I'll quiz you on this show. I sure will. I'll quiz you. Because our fan base, our Capitals fan base that's listening to this show is going to be a smarter fan base. Well, we're going to have fun. We always have fun. And we're going to figure out problems. But we're also going to learn little factoids. In fact, I'm taking you on a factoid spree in a few minutes here. But why would a coach leave a goaltender in when he's got a perfectly decent one sitting on the bench, over 900, who's healthy? Why would a coach leave a goaltender in? Let's go ahead and put some conditions on it. Let's say it's the beginning of the 3rd period, all right? And Holtby's still in. And Holtby has let in 5 goals, 3 of which were stoppable, sloppy goals. But for whatever reason, the coach didn't take him out. Okay, we can say that was a dumb move or not. But it's the beginning of the 3rd period. He lets in another goal. You're saying, my God, when are you going to pull this goalie? And the coach still elects not to take him out. Why would he do that? Got any guesses? Do it in the chat room. I want to see who gets it right first. Or call in 910 no lying. And tell me why a coach might make the reasonable choice to leave a failing goalie in. Let's see if anybody's got it yet. Everybody loves a quiz show, don't they? Yeah. Everybody loves a challenge, that's for sure. Going to the chat. Got one in there. No guesses yet. That's sad. All right, well, the reason a coach might leave a goaltender in later in the game is because why should the bench goaltender have to absorb that loss? That goes on his record as a loss. And he didn't even get a chance to get in there and fight. The other goaltender fucked it all up for him. So yeah, a lot of times, especially if it's late in the game, you're going to see if a goaltender's having a shitty night, he'll be left in no matter how shitty he gets. Now, a few good things can come out of that. First, you're not damning the goaltender on the bench, having to absorb somebody else's poor performance on his record. That sucks. They should change that rule, I think. After a certain point, it is no longer on the failing goaltender's record, because it wasn't him failing, although they both could in a given night. You're going to see a couple of things good that might come out of that is that you give that goalie a chance to redeem himself some with some sharp saves, even if it's too late to get the win. You get to find out if a goaltender folds once he realizes the game is lost. And if he does fold, you may want to think real hard about keeping him as your starting goaltender, wouldn't you? Not to mention, other people are looking at this game because players get traded all the time saying, I don't want that son of a bitch on my team if he's going to get a couple goals behind and just quit. We don't have room for that in the NHL. The NHL, when you get into the NHL and you actually find yourself on the ice, you are a superstar already. Even if nobody knows your name, you are a superstar. You have beaten the elite of the elite to get in and get on the ice. Pat yourself on the back for that, okay? So yes, you can have a shitty game. Of course you can. Holtby had a shitty one starting off tonight. I think he could have, knowing his style, warmed up just enough to have stopped all attempts in the second and third period. Don't you? Yeah, he could have. He let one softie in, a couple. The defense let him hang out to dry on, and we're going to talk about that defense right now. Mike Green. The question is, how do you think he played? One of the answers is okay. There goes the I have not been pleased with Mike Green for about 3 years. When he earned the name Game Over Green, I was madly in love with him. The best offensive D-man you could possibly find. Do you agree? Something happened. Was it just that Mike Green could not come back from his injury psychologically? Or physically, or both, some combination of both? Hard for me to answer that one. So I'm not going to attempt to. What I'm going to tell you is that Mike Green lately meaning the past couple of years, has followed this pattern. I can find a hockey pattern. The pattern has been this. He does something great, doesn't he? Does something magnificent. Scored 2 goals the other day, playing the Hawks. Does something beautiful. And then he sits on it for about 5 games. Starts screwing off. Doesn't skate fast, doesn't pass well. Giving up the puck. A lot of turnovers for Mike Green. No goals. Why is that? Why does he rest on his laurels? I don't know. But it is because of that he's not one of my 4 top-rated players on this team. And when I say top-rated, I'm not saying most talented. I'm saying top-rated as in the 4 backbone players of this team, to which all other parts of the team are connected, but not as strong. And we'll get into it. If you haven't heard any of my episodes before, who would you guess, and I can just about promise you at least one will be wrong, who would you guess is among my top 4 Washington Capitals backbone players? That meaning, I have to define it for you to give you a fair chance. Backbone players are players that I believe are critical to the team's success. Not necessarily those that are scoring the most, not necessarily those that are hitting the most, but necessarily those that when they're put on the bench or injured, you immediately feel the impact. Who would you guess are my top 4 there? I won't give you the Jeopardy theme, but I will give you a little bit of time with that when we'll talk about some other stuff. One of the sites I'm following, I don't know why I'm doing this in connection with my radio show. It is a good site. It's the Facebook page called Real Caps Fans, The Sin Bin. And there's only a couple 300 members. but they're pretty active. So I'm trying to get them to come on my radio show so that they can not only have a written word expression, but a voice to get out on the radio. And I'm not getting much interaction with the guys there. I don't think they dislike me in any way. They're just not interested in going on this radio show. So I've got to find some people somewhere, Capitals fans somewhere, that want to get in on this. It's not easy. It's not easy. Not when you got a new radio show. When you're established, yeah, of course it's easy. Hey, here we go. Brad Ricucci. Thank you, Brad. Thank you for coming in if you're listening right now. And I'm going to let you know that. Speak of the devil, but you're not the devil. Just a term I'm using. Brad says, how about we give our $4.5 million, our $4.5 million left wing some minutes? Yeah, why not? Why not? You know who he's talking about? And I'll give you some time to guess on that one. What left wing costs $4.5 million? Anybody know? I'll give you some time to guess with it. What else, Brad? Come on, keep talking, my friend. We're going to get some fan interaction here. Speak away, my brother. Let's go ahead back while Brad's thinking about something else to say here and talk about the 4 Capitals backbone players that I mentioned earlier. If you have a guess on those, that'd be good. I'd like to see you go ahead and post it in the chat here. You can get there by Spreaker.com/user/truthontap. Once you get to the show's page, you'll see a live broadcast of Caps on Tap, and you can click on that, and then you're in the show. But down in the lower right, you'll see a little icon that looks like a chat box with ellipses in it. You know, you'll see explicit, and then a heart icon, and then the chat icon. Click that, and you're in. You're chatting. Who's got 4 guesses for my 4 backbone players of the team? Who's going to disagree with me on them and tell me your 4 or 6? I'll allow as many as 6 backbone players. I'm still watching to get my other 2, if I even pick 2 more. But I won't go over 6 because a backbone does have limits in size, right? So my 4 right now are a couple you probably knew. Alexander Ovechkin, always a star, always there. Nicky Backstrom. Might be a surprise to you. Just because he scored tonight and his name's in lights is certainly not why I put him there. He's been there since I started. He comes to play every game. He's got insane skills. Okay, now Brad has made his 4. And I'm going to read his 4 backbone players to you in a minute after I finish telling you who mine were. And if you disagree with me, come on in. If you agree with me, come on in. Doesn't matter. I will get you on the air. Brad, tell me if I'm tell me if I'm pronouncing your name right. I'm going to call it Ricucci. That's a guess. I mean, for all I know, it could be Risucci or Rikuki, but I'm saying Risucci. Brad Risucci saying, here's his 4 backbone players, all right? That's going to be number 8, Alexander Ovechkin, for those of you that don't do numbers. Number 70, that's Braden Holtby. Number 19, Nicky Backstrom. And number 52, Mike Green. Good. I got Brad's name right, and that's a good thing. So Brad Ricucci, thank you for being here, Brad. I'm glad you're a fan that's interacting with the radio show. The radio show is growing, so your name will be known, and I'll let you co-host sometimes if you like to, even if you only want to do it through text. So we will manage that. He says number 8, Alexander Ovechkin, number 70, Braden Holtby, number 19, Nick Backstrom, and 52, Mike Green. But if I'm not going to include 52, I'd say 27. That's Carl Alsner, is it not? Listen to me, people. When I say that mine are Alexander Ovechkin, Nicky Backstrom, you're going to be surprised at the next 2. You're going to be surprised at the next 2. Number 1, Eric Fair. Yeah, Eric Fair. Number 2, Jason Chimera. Well, Kevin, come on, man. They're not getting their name in lights very often. No, they're not. But I got to put them there. I think they're part of the backbone of this team. Why? Eric Fair is an assassin. He gets into the offensive zone, and you don't see him. I don't know if he steps into wormholes, and actually travels through time, or if he's found the Predator's, camouflage suit. But what happens with Eric Fair is he's here, he's there, he's gone, lamp. That's what happens with Eric Fair. He's that fucking sneaky. That's why I love this guy. He lost his way last season, didn't he? Yeah, his name wasn't in lights much. He's found his way again. Now, I told you this the first or second episode of this show this year. I said Eric Fair is one of my backbone players, and he hadn't done shit. But I saw him. I saw him coming in the preseason. Next thing you know, he's got like 4 or 5 goals in 2 games. Playing like crazy. Let's go ahead and we're going to read Brad's response to my 4 picks. Brad says, good player, Kevin, but he's a huge work in process at center in his own zone. I can agree with everything except the word huge. He is a work in process at center in his own zone. He's new at that position. Anytime you switch somebody's position, let's think about the most recent example. Alexander Ovechkin, all right, forced to play over on his whole life had played over on the left, even though he was a right-handed guy. And a lot of times you'll see right-handed guys play on the right wing. But he would love to do that crossover, didn't he? So he'd skate in, he's on the left, he doesn't want to shoot off his backhand, so he'll cross in front of the goalie. It gives him a bit of a wider target, usually. Well, they forced him over onto the right, didn't they? Yeah, put him over there on the right, and he didn't like it. He was failing miserably. I mean, even Mike Milbury, the douchebag, NBC announcer, had to get all over him. But then he got used to it, didn't he? And it started fitting him, didn't it? Then he lit his ass on fire on that right wing and won MVP again. Yeah. So I believe he's won MVP, has it 3 times? The most of any current active player? Yeah. People always want to say things like Sidney Crosby is a better player than Alexander Ovechkin. And when I say people, I just mean some people. They're full of shit, aren't they? Yeah, because what categories do you have to include when you rate a hockey player? Well, let's run through it. You got to have stick. What can he do with a stick? Can he shoot? Can he pass? You got to have skates. How does he move? How fast does he move? Does he keep his skates under him? Unlike an Alexander Semen, that's the correct Russian pronunciation of Semen, who fell down about 1 out of every 3 seconds. Yeah. Some players believe if they fall down a lot, they look busier. Incorrect. Keep your skates under you at all times. Fall down only when you have no choice. Getting back to what we were talking about, the backbone of this team, going back to Brad's picks, I can't say no. 8, 70, 19, and 52. I can't say no because I didn't include a goaltender. And a goaltender, if he's solid, is indeed a great player to be on the backbone. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Brad. Based on your advice and your suggestions, number 70 is going to be my 5th backbone player of this Washington Capitals team this year. He's going to take the number 5 spot right now. As of right now, I've got 5. I still don't have 52 in. I still don't have 52. Why? Well, like I said earlier, he tends to ride his victories, doesn't he? He will do something great one game, and then 4 games he'll start having turnovers. He's not skating anymore. He's not scoring. His passes are getting intercepted. I don't like that. I like a consistent game. I like a consistent greatness. Now, if you can't score 2 goals in one game or make these beautiful long passes down the ice like he's capable of, well, that's not consistent. I want you to be consistent effort. Chimera, you don't see his name in lights a lot. But look at the speed the man uses. I mean, he skates with flames flying out his ass, does he not? All the time. The guy works himself to death. Guess who's got just as much speed as him? Mojo. But he never uses it, does he? I saw him use it once the other night against the Blackhawks. 1 time. I saw him use it 1 fucking time. 1. That hurts me. That hurts me deep because Mojo has a huge asset, and that is his speed, and he chooses not to use it. I don't know how he's getting away with it. I don't know how the coaching staff is letting him get away with it. Is he nursing some kind of injury I don't know about? Is that what's going on? I mean, let's play devil's advocate here. I'll give him a look. Let's play devil's advocate. Maybe he's got some kind of Achilles thing going on. Maybe he's got a groin that has been stretched and is trying to heal. But then that makes me think, if I see him use his burst speed once every 20 games, which has been his average lately, then he must be okay physically. So why the hell isn't he using his speed every game like Chimera does? Mojo, you've got the skills to be in my top 6 backbone players of this Washington Capitals team, but you are choosing not to use them. Mike Green, you've got them too, buddy. You sure do. But you're not using them consistently, in my opinion. Brad says yes, 52 should be in there, that he's doing more than I'm giving him credit for. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I know some people think that. I'm not gonna argue that because it's too close to being true. It's too close to being true for me to argue. If it was far from being true, I'd argue against it. As I said in the second period tonight, the Caps, did it happen in the locker room? Did it happen inside their own heads individually? What happened to make the Washington Capitals set themselves on fire in the second period? I'll tell you, I don't know. But I suspect that it may have been the coach and the coaching staff coming out and saying, hey, let's take a look, guys. Coming back from a 3-0 deficit, we've done it. We've done it. This is not something on the outer fringes of possibility. It's well within the borderline of possibility. So go play your game and come back. Come back. What a beautiful goal by Carrick, was it not? Could you have a more beautiful first goal in the NHL? I guess you could if you did the same thing while winning an overtime game. I guess you could, especially if it was, I don't know, a really close game otherwise. What a beautiful goal. Comes out of the penalty box. And what happens when you're coming out of a penalty box? People are hating on you. Your fans are hating on you if you're playing at home. Why the hell did you do that penalty? I mean, there are very few good penalties you can take. Why the hell did you do that? Out he comes, gets the puck, forehand, backhand, forehand lamp, okay? In a beautiful fashion. How can you beat that for a first goal? Connor Carrick bringing the noise for all them boys tonight. And if you looked at his eyes as the game lingered on, he couldn't stop thinking about it. Normally, I would call that a weakness. I'd be on him about it. But his first NHL goal, I'm giving him a free pass. Yeah, think about it all night. I'm glad that didn't cost us a game or cost you a serious opportunity to win the game in regulation or overtime. But how about it, How about that goal for him, his first goal? A thing of beauty, nothing less. So the second period, Washington Capitals decide to turn that shit on like it's their last game they're going to play ever. I like that. I liked what I saw there. Scoring 3 goals in the second. That tied the game, 4-4. Because the Flames also scored a goal in the second. I'm sorry. It was 4-3 at that point. The Caps scored a goal in the third to tie it 4-4. I got my stats mixed up here because I've been talking too much. That's kind of what a host on a radio show does. Yeah. And being a host on a radio show, for those of you just tuning in, I feel I have to remind you of what you're listening to.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know who that voice is, I'm going to give you a clue. Go to a Washington Capitals game. All right, did the clue work? You know who it was? It was Wes Johnson. It was the arena announcer, Wes Johnson. Pure electricity coming through the speakers. Each game that I talk about Wes Johnson, I tend to, in each show that I do, I try to compare him to a different superstar type hero, okay? And I'm not going to go through, because I did it earlier, talking about all the ones that I could compare him to logically. But I've got to come up with a new one every show. Every single show, a new comparison for Wes Johnson that has to be some type of legendary superstar type guy or girl. I don't think I'll end up comparing Wes to a girl. I don't see that happening. But hell, Wonder Woman had her shit together, didn't she? Why not? But I'm not going to do that. So tonight I'm still thinking, and I welcome your suggestion, who can we compare the greatest voice ever in radio, on TV, and arena announcing. Who can we compare Wes Johnson, the legend, to tonight? You can come and you can give me your opinion. You can call in at 910-NO-LYING, or you can get into the chat by going to the show, Spreaker.com/user/truth-on-tap. You can go there. Look for the live show that's broadcasting. It's called Caps on Tap, Miracle Complete. Click on that, and you can get into the chat in the lower right-hand corner. Look for the little icon beside the heart. That's the chat icon to get in. Tell me, who can we compare Wes Johnson, arena announcer, to tonight? All right. Now let's get back into the game. Caps catching on fire in the second. And maybe it didn't look like that to you. And how about the irony with the team we're playing called the Calgary Flames, huh? But we caught fire. They were dampened. And it was a good thing. Carrick coming out with the wrist shot. His assist by Mojo and Carl Alsner. Oh, we're going to talk about Alsner some more too. Mr. Rakucci, so stand by there. In fact, I'm just going to say it. Alsner, to me, he's like a belt buckle. He's always there, and he has a function, but he doesn't do anything. All right, so there's my feeling on Alsner. Looking at the scoring again, now you had Bauma, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, score his wrist shot with an assist to McGrattan and Street. So that made it 3-1 still, Calgary. But then we really lit it up. I'm sorry, yeah. What am I talking about here? No, that made it 4-1 Calgary. That's where I made my mistake. But then we lit it up, didn't we? Yeah. That was the last goal we would let them have. Then we wanted some goals of our own. OV, bang, got the slap shot. Assist, Green, Johansson. OV, bang, got the slap shot. Again, Johansson, Backstrom. Backstrom, bang, got the wrist shot. Assist, Grabowski, Ovechkin. That makes the 4-4 tie. We go to overtime. Nobody can score. Terrible overtime. I'm sorry, but we gave them way too much zone time. Nuvi saved our ass there, okay? We give them way too much zone time. It looked like a power play. You don't let somebody set up in your zone and then not poke check and get the puck away from them for 30, 45 seconds. That's not good, overtime or not. Did not like our performance in overtime. I was very nervous. Shootout, always advantage Caps. Always advantage Caps. With this team, we've just got great shooters. Depends on your goaltender. I was a little worried. I don't have a lot of faith in Nuvi. Some do. I don't. I'd actually rather see a Grubauer in there. I'd rather see a Holtby above all, but as a backup, I'd rather see a Grubauer. That's just me. I still got a hockey crush on Varley. I'm sorry. I think the man's going to end up in the Hall of Fame. You're going, but his numbers last year weren't that great with Colorado. No, but they were getting better, and he's coming along. I am the person, don't let anybody tell you differently, that coined the term you will hear on major radio and TV shows now about sports when they talk about Varley, Bruce Lee between the pipes. Now, they'll talk about other goalies and say that. Bruce Lee between the pipes. That's my term. That's my term. And I've seen it on ESPN. I've seen it used on NHL Network. Bruce Lee between the pipes. That's mine. I started that, just to let you know. Yay, Kevin, you're famous. No, you're not. Don't need fame. I have no ego, and that helps me a lot in life. Let's keep talking about this. The Caps lit this shit up Cap style and really took off at that point. Now, went into overtime, didn't do well, but we're going to talk a little bit about penalties here before we get into that shootout victory. How about Wilson? Now, he got a 5-minute major against Bauma, and I have not read on an update on the injury to Hillen. My gut tells me he's going to be okay. They wouldn't show it slow-mo. At first, I thought upper body injury, the way he was twisted around as I watched it live. Then I looked and said, well, okay, now we know it's lower body, but what was it? Did the knee hyperextend? Was it just knee on knee, crunch, that kind of deal? Maybe broken kneecap? I don't know. I don't even have any guesses right now, and normally I'm really good with that stuff. But they wouldn't let me see it slow-mo. I haven't looked yet because I had to do this show. So tell me, have you heard an update on Hillen's injury? We need him back. That's no joke. What was it? What kind of injury was it? I just couldn't tell from the video. So of course, It could have been perceived as knee on knee. I don't think it was intentional. So Tom Wilson gets in there and whoops ass, doesn't he? Yeah, he what a great guy he's turned out to be. And I've warned people, watch out for these noobs. Watch out, because they'll come out swinging, figuratively and literally in Tom Wilson's case, come out swinging, playing like superstars. They get a spot on the roster and they get comfortable and they deflate. That's often the case with a noob, okay? So I said, watch out. Well, let me tell you, apparently Tom Wilson doesn't know if he's made the team or not, because he's swinging and scrapping like crazy. He's taking good shots. He's scoring. He's fighting and winning his fights. What's the kid, 19 years old? My God. Keep going, Tom Wilson. We're going to be rooting you on, that's for sure. A formal salute from Caps on Tap to you for just pulling everything out and playing it. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful play. Going down the penalties some, I won't mention all of them. You had, Tom went off with Bauma. They both went off for 5 minutes. Bauma or Bouma, however you pronounce it. Ovechkin slashing, 2 minutes against K. Russell. K. Russell cross-checking, 2 minutes against Alex Ovechkin. Offsetting penalties, I guess. Carl Alsner interference. Connor Carrick hooking, which he made up for very well against Hudler. That's not Hudler, it's Hudler. That one I do know how to pronounce. D. Jones was high sticking, 2 minutes against John Carlson. Tom Wilson, too many men on the ice. Why he had to serve that, I don't know. I think it was just a choice. And Erskine in the third period, delay a game. We got to get smart about that, guys. I realize it's rare to hit the puck down the ice when you're trying to clear it because you're on a penalty kill and to knock it over the glass. But you can be more careful. Don't hit it that hard. Not necessary. We got to work on that. Dumb mistake. Johnny, you've made some mistakes the past few games, and I love you. You are our enforcer. I love you. But you got to get yourself in a better state of mind to play the game well like you did last year, okay? You're coming out stumbling a little bit here. Ward, always good, always grinding, but tends to make big mistakes late in the game. I don't know why. Sometimes it really screws us. I guess that's life. But he did good tonight, and he did good against the Hawks, didn't he? Joel Ward being smart about his puck movement, being smart about how he protects the puck, being smart about his body positioning. I like the way he plays hockey. I find him a good grinder, but because of his mistakes that tend to surface late in the game, and this is fairly common among guys that get tired, so it could be a conditioning thing, I don't know. Guys that get tired will do stuff like Alsner did tonight, okay? When Alsner got the penalty for, did I even read that? Yeah, interference. That's not a smart penalty to take. Oh, I can't catch him, so I'll skate into him and go to the box. It's different if you've got a prime-time Cast A player going in for a one-on-one shot. Yeah, then you might want to take a penalty to slow him down. But not the way Alsner did it tonight. It was what I call a lazy play. Because you're tired, you don't want to do the skating to catch up, so you bump him with your butt and try to slow him down that way, knowing you'll be called for a penalty, or probably. That's not cool. Alsner does not impress me. He's always there. He can be seen as a pillar, but he doesn't impress me. I don't see him ever coming out of his shell to be a star. He's just kind of there. That's why I like to compare him to a belt buckle. He's there, he's necessary, but he doesn't do anything. You know, it's not like he's Nylander, and I'm sitting here going, trade that motherfucker. I know, I'm not thinking like that. But I don't know. With Alsner, I just think he's kind of there. Tell me why I'm wrong. I'll go back to the chat and see if anybody said anything. Brad is saying something. Let's see what else he said. He has said, they were gassed, Kevin, quite obvious. 3 lines and 4D skated almost the entire third. Coming back like that is taxing. Good point. I'm not going to argue that with you. Have a good night, sir. 5:30 a.m. Okay, so Brad has to go. Let me just thank him. He's probably gone already. Thank you, Brad, for coming in and participating tonight. You made excellent points. I look forward to you coming in on future shows. And you again made excellent points tonight. A couple I disagreed with lightly, on a slight angle. I haven't really thought too much about being gassed, but yeah, I'll have to think about that. I'll have to see when you make a good deep point like that. I have to put it in my mind and toss it around, so I can't have an immediate reaction all the time to it. So were they gassed? I don't think coming back in and of itself is taxing. I think if the Capitals play their normal game, that meaning not an overemphasized offense, they still come back. But that means they got to stop making mistakes. So I don't see coming back in and of itself being taxing. But the truth is, as you say, they did work. They did work. And because they worked to come back, yeah, they were a little gassed. Yeah, so okay, I got you there. I'm hearing you, Brad. This show, let's see, how long have we been broadcasting at this point? We haven't quite discussed the shootout yet. We've discussed just about everything else for this game. I've been broadcasting for, shockingly, an hour and 21 minutes. I can go up to 3 hours. Technically, I can go unlimited, but per episode, I can only go 3 hours. That's the limit of my current plan on Spreaker. So we'll, of course, abide by that requirement. I don't know if I'll go that long. I'm doubting it. I'm not a professional broadcaster, so my vocal cords are spaghetti after an hour. I like to go about 2 hours tops. So unless I can get more people in here mixing it up and telling me good stuff about the Caps and bad stuff about the Caps, I'll probably be signing off at about the 2 hour mark. Roughly at, I don't know, 12:15, 12:30, somewhere in there. I know some of you guys got work tomorrow. I work out of my house, make my own schedule, so in that case, I can hang. I'm a disabled American veteran, to a degree, not fully disabled, to a degree, and I work on computers, mostly, for income, but that's not very lucrative these days, I got to tell you that. But I do what I can. And I love doing this show for a hobby. I will not rule out the possibility that it could become a profession. You know, get enough listenership, start selling some ads. It could happen. I believe it can. I do. I'm one of those guys that likes to stay optimistic. And people say, well, there's so much competition out there, though. You know, competition doesn't bother me. I've got 4 novels for sale right now on Amazon and Smashwords and all the other sites, Barnes & Noble. Lots of competition out there. So, I'm one of those guys. I'm one of the competition. That's all. Washington Capitals turning it on tonight. Ovi getting 2 goals. Let's not forget something about Alexander Ovechkin. All right, let's not forget something. And I'm going to say this, and then we're going to get into some factoids, because I like my Washington Capitals fans to be smarter than the rest. We're already classier than the rest, but we got to be smarter than the rest, too. So if you listen to this show, you're going to get some good tidbits that make you a smarter fan, okay? And I may not necessarily know these tidbits. I look them up. I look them up to read to you, and then I'll throw my spin on them if I have a spin. Whatever that spin is, it's going to be geared toward truth. Alexander Ovechkin, pronounced in Russian Alexander Ovechkin, may not have gotten enough credit for his 2 goals tonight. Why? Well, we've come to expect it, haven't we? Expectations is a dangerous thing when rating the value of a player. It's not fair. Just because someone's always playing good doesn't mean that just because you expect them to play good, they're playing normal. It means they're still being a superstar, okay? You have to have in your mind a hard definition of what normal is. Take the average of all NHL players at his position and come up with a player in your mind that is average. Okay, what's he scoring? 15, 18 goals a year, this average player? You know, what's his stats look like? Then you measure all the other players you're interested in against this imaginary average player. When you do that with Alexander Ovechkin, you consistently get superstar status. Once in a while, flop, screw up. Most of the time, superstar. Don't believe me? Ask the league. Yeah, ask the league that gives them MVP. They seem to agree with me. I'll take that. You may disagree with me, but the league agrees with me, so I'll take that. And while I'm at it, let me just say, Sheriff Shanahan, fuck you, don't like you. He doesn't like the Caps. A lot of people don't like the Caps because they have Alexander Ovechkin. Think about that for a second. Why would they hate the team based on him being on the team? Think about it for just a second. Okay? And let me remind you what you're listening to.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kiersten.
Yeah. They hate the team because Alexander Ovechkin's on it, and they hate Ovechkin because he's so great. It is lonely at the top, my friends. People want to hate you. People want to see the king of the hill fall. I have not forgotten the topic that I promised you we'd come back to, okay, which is to say that, oh, good, we got another player. Another player. Another guest in the chat, Stefan. Am I pronouncing your name right? Stefan Levesque. Sounds French. I may be wrong. Type into him how. Welcome. Got some stuff to say about Caps. That was 4 minutes ago, and I know people don't have much patience on the internet, so I won't blame him if he's left. Yeah, there we go. Let me guess. Okay, let me guess. I'm going to guess. He says he's going to, all right, speak away, my brother. And Stefan, I'll read your comments on the air. We can do a little chat here. But as I do this, if you'll bear with me, we were talking a little bit earlier about how dangerous it is to compare an Alexander Ovechkin to himself. Because if you do that, well, then he's average. Any player's average if you do that. He's great. He's a superstar. People love to hate him. The league thinks he's a superstar. That's why he keeps getting these MVPs. And now, I told you I was going to talk earlier about Sidney Crosby and how some will say he's a better player than Alexander Ovechkin, okay? And when people say this, I get this big exclamation point in my brain. That's all that pops up. It's just, bang! What is that? It's a shock factor. It's a disbelief. It's a, can somebody be this stupid? You know, you can watch a couple highlight tapes depending on how they're composed and get confused. But then you got to look at stats. Or if you look at a long highlight tape, you'll be clear on who the better player is. Let's talk about what makes a great player. His shooting. Right? Shooting percentage, how good he shoots, how many get past the goalies, his passing, his skating. Can he stay on his skates? Is he fast? Can he deke? What else? What else is it? Can he take a hit? Does he have a glass chin? Does he take a couple of hits and end up on IR for 30 games and then come back and get hit again and go back to IR? Can he take a hit? Can he, does he lead well? There's another category you might want to put into a player's, overall worth. And finally, and one of the most overlooked and the biggest one to me, I don't know why, but it just hits home for me. I think you know what I'm about to say. Hitting. Alexander Ovechkin brings the body and lays people out. He will sacrifice himself to knock somebody off the puck, to show hitting is very important in hockey, and people don't realize it. When you hit a guy, you make him psychologically a little bit more scared to touch the puck next time. It's automatic. It's animal behavior. And I've got that kind of education. I can speak about that. Every time he gets hit, doesn't matter by which player, as long as it's a good, hard, solid hit, he gets a little more scared to touch that puck. Yeah. And that all of a sudden begins to favor the other team. Hitting is very important. Alexander Ovechkin hits, and he hits hard. Sidney Crosby does not. The NHLPA voted Sidney Crosby the whiniest player in the NHL. There's a strike against him, okay? His hits are about 1/5 of Alexander Ovechkin's. He might get, 100 hits in a year, and half of them are weak. And Alexander Ovechkin will get 450 or so. Yeah, something like that. I mean, you can do the math. You can look it up, but it's like that. My numbers are close. Stefan Levesque here saying, the kid has skills, and I'm quoting, I can't take that away from him. What upset me was all the comparisons to Gretzky, the only great one. Good point, good point. Gretzky is in a class by himself. And when I compare a Gretzky to an OV, what I have, if you were to combine OV with Semin, you'd have a Gretzky, right? Because he's got more of the smoothness Gretzky did, more of the dangle, a lot of speed, very smart hockey player. You know what Gretzky likes to say? He likes to say, a great hockey player doesn't know where the puck is. He knows where the puck's going to be. That's important. That also applies to team chemistry. If you know your team and you've had enough practice the way the coaches should have done it from camp on out, you know where your fellow players on your shift are going to be 5 seconds before they get there. Okay, you may not be good enough yet to know where the puck's going to be, like the great one did, but you know where your guys are going to be, and that's important. That's very important to success on a hockey club, all right? Yeah, the comparison between OV and the great one is indeed apples and oranges. I love both fruits, you know. They both have major strengths, few weaknesses, but you know, they are two different things altogether. You can't compare a Gretzky to an OV except to say that both are amazing players, or one was and one is. Gretzky got his name all over the place, set all kinds of standards, broke all kinds of records, got into the Hall of Fame. OV is heading the same way. You know, he really is. Now, I will say that OV brings the hits a little better than Gretzky did, but Gretzky brought more of the hockey smarts than OV has, and he brought a little bit more of the dangle factor, the deke factor, just a little bit more smooth on his stuff. See, OV, he's got moves. You know he's got moves, especially for a big guy. But he's a little rough. He's not always smooth like a Pavel Datsyuk. You know what I'm talking about? A Pavel Datsyuk looks like a magician with a yo-yo when he's got the puck, doesn't he? Okay, OV looks more like a juggler with flames. Now, he's not dropping any. He knows his game. But he's just a little rougher, a little more coarse. And that's okay, obviously. The league says so. They handed him the MVP. They say it's okay. I say it's okay. I'm okay with OV. A much better player than Sidney Crosby. I just know that. I watched the two. How do they even compare? Mike Milbury likes to say, that's right, OV, and I'll quote, that's right, OV, Crosby's still your daddy. Yeah, he said that, what, a year or two ago? Did y'all know that? Who didn't know that? Tell me in chat. What do you think about Mike Milbury? I'm going to read something that Stefan has said here. He has said, when Semin was on his game, not often enough, he was more dangerous than OV. I can almost agree with that. Alexander Semin, in Russian, that's pronounced Alexander Semin. There's your smart tap for the day. He was dangerous. Best wrist shot in the league. Still has it. Still has it. Unfortunately, he only uses his skill when he wants to, doesn't he? Yeah, he's got the smoothness of a Pavel Datsyuk. He's got the passing of a Nicky Backstrom. He's got the shot better than anybody else as far as a wrist shot. But he won't work. He won't work. He works when he wants to. You got to get him in the mood. Got to get him in the mood to do those crazy things. So, yeah, that's the problem with Semin. And for that reason, I have to say I'm glad he's gone, because I will take a young, inexperienced grinder any day over a star with attitude problems. I have to. That's just my nature. But you're right. When Semin was on his game, which was not often enough, I can't say he was more dangerous than OV. I respect your opinion there, Stefan. I will say that he was damn near equally as dangerous. I'll go ahead and put that out on a limb. What a great, and his passes were phenomenal. I would go as far as to say that outside of him having the best wrist shot in the league, his passes were second to none. He did plenty of no-look passes. He did funky passes between his legs backwards, and they always went where they were supposed to go. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing when Semin put forth effort and played his game. What wasn't beautiful, and a lot of you don't know this, is the little camaraderie that OV and Semin had in the locker room was a problem. You can't have cliques forming on a team. It's not healthy. It's really not, especially once you're captain and we're in the sea. You can't have a best friend on the team. Everybody's got to be your best friend, okay? So that was creating a problem, and I think Hunter saw that. But anyway, we'll let that go. Gretzky, says Stefan, had the goons to protect him. If you touched him or got too close, McSorley crushed you. He did. He had protection. That's true. He says, I hate him. I think he's talking about Sidney Crosby. He says, I believe the Crosby daddy comments came during the Snow-Vetchkin game. Well, I think it did. I think you're right. Why would Mike Milbury say something like that? Well, like a Don Cherry, I don't know. I think he just loves maybe American and Canadian players only and looks at European players as garbage. Screw you, Mike Milbury. If I had a chance to, I'd kick you in your big fat nose. Do you know Mike Milbury climbed up into the stands during his shitty career to beat a fan with his own shoe? Yeah. So if I step up to the podium and I'm defining class, what you won't see is Mike Milbury unless I pull out a list of antonyms to class. He will not be on the synonyms list. Mike Milbury, a professional douchebag who performs much douchebaggery, said Alexander Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby is still your daddy. What? I'm looking around, looking at MVP awards going, what's he talking about? I don't understand. One guy hits, the other doesn't. One guy skates like a train, the other does not. One guy can take a hit and not go on IR. The other cannot. Both guys can dangle. Both guys can do spinoramas. Crosby's better at the spinoramas. But that's it. That's it. I mean, I think Malkin's a better player than Crosby. Argue me wrong, you know? So, Mike Milbury, I hope you trip over your douchebaggery, which must hang off of you like big giant bags of douchebags. And as I said before, what needs to happen to Mike Milbury is he needs to be tied down to the ground very tightly because he's kind of a strong guy. He's a goon. Tie him down to the ground near where you have a bunch of blind people playing yard darts. Yeah. Make sure his eyes are open. And, you know, they're out there. They're trying to get the yard darts into the remember the little circles they had? What a dangerous game that was. You throw a dart up into the sky, and then you wait for it to come down and crush the skull of another kid right through his eye socket. I played the game when I was a kid. I survived. I thought it was fun. But Mike Milbury needs to be tied down near blind people playing yard darts. That's what he needs. What a prick he is. I can't stand that son of a bitch. OV shut him up with his hat trick during that game. Yeah. I like Malkin, always have. Malkin, I'm sorry. I do too. I do too, Stefan. I think he's not only a heart player, like he gets emotional about the game, which too many players don't. To too many players, it's a business. But he really is not afraid to let his skill out. You know, he'll take wacko shots. He'll skate around and do a no-look backhand shot and score in the top corner. Once in a while, you got to do that. You got to let that animal out and see what it does. He'll do that. So what it says to me is he's inventive. He's inventive, creative. One thing OV's lacking, if you ask me, a little creativity. OV, at least in the past 3 years, has become very predictable, especially when he was playing left wing and did the crossover and then would do the toe drag. Nobody was falling for it. Nobody. So OV became predictable, needs to be a little more inventive. The wider your array of tricks is, the more confused a defensive player will be when you come into the zone, okay? So you got to have a big bag of tricks. Malkin has a big bag of tricks. Pavel Datsyuk has a big bag of tricks. What can I say? I love Russian players. The only ones I love as much of them, if we're going to do stereotyping, is Swedish players. Swedish players coming in with puck control like you wouldn't believe. Passing, spot on. I love me a Swedish hockey player, especially when they're giving effort, unlike Mojo. He did good tonight, but I'm just talking about the last couple of years. Stefan says... Stefan says Milbury looks like Fred Flintstone. Oh, God. Oh, man. But you know his wife doesn't look as good as Wilma. Hell no. He's probably married to a fucking German Shepherd. Mike Milbury, he's just an ass tard. He's a puck tard, douchebag, fuckface. Sometimes I hope that another announcer will get so pissed off at him that he'll just bitch smack him with the microphone. Think about the art involved in that. You'd have the poof. Let me do it on my mic. It sounds like this. Yeah, right there. Blowing up your speakers. I'll take Betty too, Stefan. Betty was hot. Stefan says, I'll take Betty. Betty was hot. For cartoon characters, Betty had it going on. Yeah, she brought the noise. Loved that little prehistoric skirt, and she would rock that. What were we talking? Oh, Mike Milbury. Yeah, somebody needs to smack him with a microphone and say, "You're a dick." Yeah, right on live TV. NBC, historically, are they for or against the Capitals? I'm going to let Stefan take this one. Stefan, you're answering for our whole audience here. How does NBC treat the Washington Capitals? I'll wait for your answer. We're going to look around a little bit here. How does NBC treat the Washington Capitals? Their announcers, in general, just in general. And there's always exceptions. Whenever you hear me make a stereotypical comment, there are always exceptions. Okay, I understand the bell curve. I understand standard deviations. So when I say that if someone in a small town, if 10 people come up missing and all of their last names start with a W, I'm looking for a 30 to 40-year-old white male. Does that mean there just cannot be a black serial killer or Asian or Hispanic or Pacific Islander? No, it doesn't mean that. Of course not. I'm just going with the most likely based on history, based on statistics. That's just the way it is. Statistics is a hard word to say without sounding drunk. I have trouble with it. I'm stealing that from some comedian that said it a while back. Yeah, here he goes. All right, so how does NBC treat the Washington Capitals? Stefan says, correctly, like crap. And the Winter Classic game was good, for a good case in point. My God, it's every game with them, Did you see last game? Mike Milbury said something nice about the Capitals. My girlfriend had to catch me. And now I'm 6'5" tall, 232 pounds. She's about 5'4", 130. She had to catch me because I almost passed out when Mike Milbury said something nice about the Capitals. And I think he only did that at that point because he was pretty sure they were going to lose. He hates Alexander Ovechkin, so he hates the Capitals by proxy. Screw him. That's just the way he is. One day somebody's going to trip over his nose, and I hope they catch it on camera. Yeah. Climbed up into the stands and beat a fan with his own shoe. I hope one day I'm famous. Not because I like fame. I have no ego. I don't need fame. If I have 10 million listeners or just 10 listeners, I'm equally as happy. Okay? However, I would love to be big so that I could get this message out to as many people as possible. Mike Milbury is a douchebag. Oh, yeah. I'd say it to his face, too. I'm that kind of guy. Yeah, I'm that kind of guy. I'm that way with people like Bill O'Reilly, too. His politics may be good, may be bad. That's up to you. Does he make good points? I think he does sometimes. But he's an asshole. There's a certain way you treat people. If you have a decent amount of honor, and he does not have that. So he better never have me on his show. And I heard people say, you don't want to be on Bill O'Reilly's show. He's 6'4" and 210 pounds. Well, I'm 6'5", 230. And that doesn't matter. Because if the son of a bitch gets in my face or threatens me, he's going to need somebody to do his loofah work for him for a couple months. Yeah, that's how that goes. But Stefan, you're right. The Winter Classic game was a good case in point, displaying NBC's heavy, heavy bias against the Washington Capitals. We did beat the Penguins in that game. We beat them fairly and firmly. Now, it was in that game, if I recall correctly, that a certain David Steckel skated past a Sidney Crosby and caught him on the chin. Didn't knock him out or anything, but it injured him. So he had to, and I'm not saying Cindy's soft for that. I think that might have injured anyone. It was a very funky twist, but it just so happened to be in that game. David Steckel's another guy we should have never let go of. He was the face-off king You know, face-offs are important, but, you know, you make your trades. That game was very exciting, I thought. And what I think that game put to rest was who's better, Ovechkin or Crosby? What I think that game put to rest is, do you have any doubts about NBC being biased against the Caps? Another thing I think it put to rest is, who's the greatest team out of these two? Now, I know a lot of people are thinking, but wait, the Penguins won a cup. Well, yeah, true. And I hear that a lot when people talk about Sidney Crosby. They say, oh, you want to compare OV and Crosby? Well, tell OV that Crosby has an extra cup holder for him when he gets one. Wait a minute. When you're comparing individuals, you do not talk about Stanley Cups. Because if you can call into this show or get in on chat and you can name me an individual who has single-handedly won a Stanley Cup, I'll give you $10 gazillion. 10 gazillion. A Stanley Cup is a team effort. You may have 3 stars on the team, 3 pretty good players, and 15 average players, whatever. The fact that the Pittsburgh Penguins got the Stanley Cup and the Capitals have not yet says nothing about Crosby and Ovechkin. Individual efforts cannot be computed on a Stanley Cup level. That is a team effort. The goaltender has to be spot on. The defense has to be getting in position. All 4 lines got to be rolling. The officials have to be calling everything fair and square. The fans have to be behind their people. All the players have to be healthy. You don't know who's on and on I could go. Individuals? You can't compare individuals by using the Stanley Cup meter. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. So Ovechkin is a better player all around. One exception is that I think Crosby's better with the spinoramas. Well, great. He perfected a move. Good for you, Cindy Crosby. Other than that, I think he's a big puss. And he has no further skill above Ovechkin. So you go do your spin, you go do your triple sow cow and your figure skates there, Cindy, and Ovechkin will keep steamrolling people, hitting pucks so hard that the rubber disintegrates in midair as it finds its way to the back of the net and through it. That's Ovechkin. That's Ovechkin. That's what he does. I've made 2 highlight videos of Ovechkin myself. You can find those on YouTube if you like. Look for the best 4-minute Alexander Ovechkin highlight video. You'll find that one. I made that one. And then look for OV squared, which is the best 8 minutes of Alexander Ovechkin you'll ever see. It's a good highlight video. Stefan here says individual stats will most likely keep Chris Osgood out of the Hall, regardless of all the cups he won with the Wings. That's important. That's important because Stefan's helping me make my point here. Individual performance cannot be rewarded or desecrated by a presence or absence of a Stanley Cup. It's not right. What your performance is what your performance is. It's not what the team did for you or didn't do for you. Alexander Ovechkin, this amazing player, his team has not worked hard enough to make him also have a Stanley Cup. So, how does that affect his individual performance levels? It doesn't. The numbers don't lie. And just as Stefan said, the numbers don't lie. Regardless of how many times Chris Osgood's team has raised the cup, he may be not getting in the Hall of Fame because of his stats. That's just the way it works, and I think that's fair. Does anybody think that's unfair? I don't think that's unfair. No, not at all. As you guys know, I'm a relatively new broadcaster. I will be doing a show, the plan is, after every Capitals win. Why? Because no one's going to listen after a Capitals loss. Who wants to talk about it? Yeah, yuck. But because I'm a new broadcaster, my vocal cords tire out very easily. We're going to keep going as long as Stefan and anyone else is in the chat room talking or people calling in. The number is 910-NO-LYING. As long as Stefan's in the chat room or anyone else, we're going to keep the show going. I don't like to kick my customers out of the store if they're still shopping. But I need to give my vocal cords a break right now. So I am going to put on a couple of songs for you by the local group here, Bad Ace. One of my favorites. You can find them at badace.com. I'm going to put in, these are two of my favorites, actually. One of them, I hope this is the right one. Oh, is it? No, I think it's In Your Life with the harmonica. All right, well, I'm putting on Falling Faces and Kelly are the names of the two songs I'm going to put on to give us a break here. We have which is a total of about 6 minutes. So this will give us about 6 minutes. Let me remind you of what you're listening
to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kiersten.
Up next to falling faces off the wall, and I creep these hallways under tears I've cried for you. I'm falling, torn between the dark and light, and I'm calling for your kiss to calm the fire. Now I know it's a little too late for fantasies, but I've always dreamed you'd be the one for me. Now I see it's enough. Never really was any reason for alarm, and oh, it's just another phone, and I keep it such alone, but I never can find my lady. We lost of a lady. And then she came walking with the fools who were still here talking. Lord knows she took me now screaming, but my mind I was only dreaming. Can't help but stand, and then you push me down. When I give you my hand, that was over, and I'm a little bit colder. Oh, now sometimes a man don't know what a woman can do till the jail breaks through when it's over, and he's a little bit colder. Oh, now everybody's got their money, she got the shout out, baby, but I might be crazy, but I really do believe you're lying when you say there ain't no use in trying. Oh, you got to get out to get it. I can see that you're never gonna get it. Oh, can't you just give me a minute? Can't you see that I'm trying to be an idiot? Can't you let me hang and then you cut me down when the whistle sang you another name? And it was a whole new game now. Oh, now it's time to take your tall tales and leave them at the tracks, cause the train don't stop for you and me. And I'm a westbound man, I got to catch my ride. All right. It's got to be another destination. Think I need a permanent vacation. Hold up on another revelation in the lobby of a cold concrete steel station. Oh, now maybe I'm a loser. Maybe all my chills amuse you. Oh, but that don't mean a thing now. Everybody's gotta love it somehow. So don't look for me no more. I was gone 10 minutes for you slam the door, and I'm going. And my heart's not showing. Oh, no, baby. But when the circus comes back to town, no, I might be fine with the freaking face down. So you can give it coyote to a painted up pole with a brave new version of the old side show.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kiersten.
You're listening to Caps on Tap. It is the daughter show of Truth on Tap. Stand with me. Stand by. Microphone. Microphone, I'm looking for you. There you are. Sorry, my microphone likes to play hide and seek. You know, get under the couch or stuff like that. You're listening to Caps on Tap, the daughter show of Truth on Tap. And let's see. Now, I don't know if Stefan is still with us. The music dropped out. I wonder why. Crap. Okay, well, thank you for that tip. Actually, Stefan, since you're listening, I don't really need to type. I'm learning this. I don't really need to type responses. I do that out of habit. It's a bad habit. Well, let's see what else he said. Yeah. The music dropped out there for a while. If anybody else was listening, would you please, if you can't get in to the chat room or you don't want to, would you please message me on Facebook or send me an email to how the quality of the broadcast sounded, because I have a very limited way of checking on that. I see everything from a broadcaster standpoint. I use special software called Sam Broadcaster. And when I listen back to the show, it doesn't always give me what you would hear, if you know what I mean. So please send me a message to what's the deal at yahoo.com, and that's spelled WUTZ, the deal, at yahoo.com. WUTZ, THEDEAL. And then tell me how the quality looks. Stefan, if you're still here, let me know, brother. We'll keep talking. Tell me some things you think I should be talking about this game that maybe I haven't talked about yet. Tell me some things that you think we should be talking about regarding the NHL that nobody's talking about. I'll tell you about hybrid icing. I like it. I love fighting, don't get me wrong. I love a rough game. But why have people getting injured if we can use hybrid icing? I think it's good. It does introduce room for mistakes, doesn't it? Yeah, we have to kind of pay that price. Yet it's worth it to me because of how many injuries it's going to prevent, how many penalties for, say, boarding you're going to miss, especially when they're unfair. Because like hooking, boarding is almost an opinion, isn't it? You can do it a little too hard and then get called, whereas another referee on another night, same action will not be called. It's almost like judges, isn't it? It depends on which judge you get on which day as to what happens in court. That's not right. Let's see. Stefan, you're still here. Everything sounds good on my end, and I am not even listening on the greatest speakers in the world on my iMac. As far as tonight's game, Stefan says, I am just upset that Oates is going back to Holtby versus Dallas on Saturday. Good points all. I like Holtby. Let me ask you, Stefan, why do you think, first of all, that we shouldn't be going back to Holtby? Second, I presume that you think we should go to Nuvi. Do you have that much faith in Nuvi? Is it just that he's on a hot streak, or do you have that much faith in him in general? And third, what is it that makes you say Holtby shouldn't be put back in a game yet? I don't know. I think number 1 and number 3 may have been very similar there. I don't do lists. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Don Himers. I just took over the microphone from Kevin Gearstead on this goddamn Caps on Tap show he's doing. What is this, about the Washington Capitals? This is what this is? I don't know shit about hockey. Shit. Okay. What, you want me to read the guy's comments in the chat? Alright, it's Don Imus. We're doing Caps on Tap. This guy, Stefan says, Nuvi earned the start with his play tonight. Okay, I don't know what that means. I'm Don Imus. I know I watch hockey. Then he says, Holtby, 8 goals against in less than 4 periods. Well, I don't know what that means. Says, to me, your play earns you the starts. Who cares about hockey? Come on out to the ranch and you can ride one of my cows with me.
Okay, there was Don Imus. We welcomed him into the studio in a guest spot. Not a huge hockey fan. Got to let him go. Stefan got a good point there. He says Nuvi earned the start with his play tonight. I think he did. I would say that's fair, but up for debate. Holtby, 8 goals against in less than 4 periods. Like I said about Holtby earlier, he tends to be a slow starter, and that goes across multiple levels. He tends to be slow into the season. He tends to be slow into the game to warm up. That's got to be fixed, because once he's warmed up, figuratively speaking, if you're talking about the season, if it takes 10 games for him to find his zone, that's too many. We need him to warm up much faster and get into that zone and play like he does in the playoffs. But I have a belief, I have a faith in him. I feel a stability with Holtby. Now, I agree that he's played pretty bad these past couple games. He's been left out, hung out to dry a couple times by his defense. I have not been impressed with the way Mike Green has been playing on defense up there next to the goalie. I have been impressed with his offensive prowess lately. I'm worried that he's going to get hurt again. Stefan says you have to go with the hot hand. That's not a bad idea in hockey. It really isn't. Go with the guy that's doing well. That's the most typical behavior from coaches. If they've got a goalie who seems to be in some kind of zone, they tend to stick with him. But also, here's the thing. A hockey team's philosophy includes having one primary goalie. If you see a hockey team flipping back and forth between goalies routinely, the team itself has a little bit of uncertainty. It's kind of, because remember, a goalie's job is to give the team a chance to win. Just stop 9 out of 10 on average. That's all we're going to ask you to do. Pretty simple. But changing back and forth, you have different styles and you have different histories, and depending on how that matches up against the opponent, you know, your regular team is going, I don't know how I feel about this. Who's in tonight? You know, but you get one goaltender, and he's mostly starting. Then you have this predictability, don't you? You have a comfort zone, a more stable foundation from which to launch that first face-off. You have defensemen that know how the goaltender is going to play the puck and don't have to guess. It only takes an extra second, but say, oh, who's in net? Oh, that guy, he's going to do this. That extra second can be a killer. So I think you do, in general, want to go with one goalie consistently. Maybe if there's a back-to-back game, you put another goalie in, or if one goalie got a little bruise and you really want to kind of guard him, yeah, throw another goalie in mid-season, whatever. But I think you do have to go with one primary goalie. Some argue against me on that and say, you know, if you regularly alternate goalies, you're keeping them both healthy and fresh, and you're keeping the competition alive, so they're going to try very hard. It's not a bad philosophy. I just haven't seen it work. I mean, I'm always looking at numbers, you know. What are the numbers? What do the numbers suggest? The numbers suggest that when you have one primary goaltender, your team gets further into the playoffs if they make the playoffs at all. So, Stefan, I agree with you. There's nothing wrong you've said yet, in my opinion. But remember, these are all just opinions. So we may find ourselves disagreeing with one another, which is fine. I mean, the goal of this show is to keep it real, but to also keep our fans engaged and also give opposing views. I mean, we need to understand our team the best we can. So I never said I was a hockey expert. I'm not. I've been watching my Washington Capitals since 1974. I'd call myself maybe a 7 on a 10 scale of hockey knowledge, including Capitals knowledge. Maybe a 7. Some might say 6, some might say 8. I'm just going to say 7. Not an expert, but I will get experts on all the time. And some of you may be more expert than me. That's fine. Because my strength is I have a passion for the Capitals. My strength is that I'm not a fair weather fan for the Capitals. And two of my strengths that really matter, one is I can get a conversation going and keep it going. And number 2, and perhaps more important, is I can connect with people, truly connect with people. I have this ability to feel what you're saying, even if you're only doing it through text. You might have to type a few things before I can get a feel for you. But I really do. I connect with people, keeping it real. You know, it's just you hear people say keep it real all the time, but then there are people that do it. I actually do it. And I expect the same from the people that participate on the show. Just be real. You know, sometimes a sugar coating is misleading, and you got to take it off and reveal what's underneath. I got to give some value from the show. Why would people come here with so many other shows there? Well, that's going to be my approach, the truth, the unpolished truth. And we're always going to give that on the show. I put an ad up on Real Caps Fan, the Facebook page, the Sin Bin. It's a nice site. It's only got a couple hundred followers right now, or likes, I guess you want to say. But is this a group? Yeah, it is a group. So I'd say members. It has about 235 members right now, but they're active. And I was looking for active Capitals fans to engage in my radio show. This radio show is growing by leaps and bounds, just as Truth on Tap is. Caps on Tap is really picking up. And I'm glad. I'm very thankful for that. But I want to get my Capitals fans in here, get some regular ones, and find some regular co-host to co-host with me. And we can do that, believe it or not. I can have a co-host by chat. I can also have a co-host call in and co-host over the phone as if he were in the studio. So I think I've got all those technical details ironed out. The number is 910-NO-LYING. 910-665-9464 to call Caps on Tap. I'm your host, Kevin Kierstead. I do 2 shows. I do Truth on Tap and Caps on Tap. You may like both. Give them both a shot. Not just tonight's episode, but you can go to Spreaker.com /user/Truth on Tap, and you'll see both my shows and all my episodes when you click on the show. pretty good stuff, I think. I try to keep it real. I try to touch on places where others have not. That's not always easy. Here we go. Let's see. I have to go with the hot hand. Stefan Levesque. Was I right about the French origin of the name, Stefan, and how French? I mean, did you come from Montreal? Did you come from Paris? Or is it just a lineage thing? Or am I completely off on this French thing? Let me know about that. Stefan Levesque, your thoughts on Erskine being used as a top 4D man. I'll talk about it. And then the second thing reminds me of a Dave Chappelle clip when keeping it real goes wrong. I saw the show, Stefan. I saw the show. I love Dave Chappelle. I was heartbroken when he abandoned his show midway through that one season. Gosh, you don't talk about keeping it real, man. He always did. But he did a show called When Keeping It Real Goes Wrong, and it was absolutely hilarious. It had like where you walk up to the boss man and say, F you, and you're fired. Stuff like that. That was a good show. It still is. I don't know if Dave Chappelle's still doing that show. I'm not much of a TV guy anymore. I couldn't tell you. But God, I love that show. He said, tell me how you feel about Erskine. Oh, let's go back. We were asking Stefan about about the lineage of his name. And why do I do this? Because it applies to a lot of hockey players and a lot of hockey fans. That's just the way it is. So Stefan says, yep. As far as the origin, born in D.C., though. Father is French-Canadian and mom's Italian. I knew it, man. I knew I'd get one right. I knew I'd get one part right. French-Canadian, I'm guessing out of the Montreal area. Je parle un peu aujourd'hui, maintenant. Je ne sais pas is my favorite. I can do that. I studied French for about 5 years and remember about 50 words of it. Yeah, 2 years in high school, 3 in college. And not using it enough will make it decay, and that kind of sucks. Because I was always looking for a friend that would speak French to me, with me back and forth, and I never could find one. Just to practice it. I don't know why. Had one guy that was basically from the Mediterranean. He spoke French. He had his own club, and he worked with me. And he would never want to speak French with me. Either I sucked too much, or he didn't like French. I don't know. Je ne sais pas. Zut alors, Anyway, back to the Capitals we will go. How do I feel about, let's finish with Stefan's thing about his lineage, though. And he says his father grew up in northern Maine but spoke French fluently because of his grandparents who were from Quebecois, or Quebec. That's cool. I got it. And do you know there's a lot of French-speaking folks down there in the bayou? Yeah, down in New Orleans. Yeah, they are. That's a different kind of French as well. And that's what I was going to say, the formal textbook French. You don't hear a lot of that going on in Montreal. I've been up to Montreal before and tried to speak my French. They did appreciate it. They appreciated the effort, but they looked at me kind of like people would look at George Bush when he was giving a speech. Yeah, so get out of that what you want to. All this is off the top of my head. We don't use scripts here, people. Going back to your question, though, about John Erskine. Erskine's been sloppy the past couple games, in my opinion. However, he has a role on our team as the enforcer. He's nothing like a Donald Brashear was. But I think he's our daddy. Don't you think? I don't know what else to say. He's kind of slow. He's been kind of sloppy lately. He's usually pretty good with outlet passes and things of that nature to add to his enforcer status. But lately I said tonight to my girlfriend, is he drunk? That's what I said. That's what I said about Erskine. Hopefully he's not. I get the feeling that Stefan's about to say, maybe we should replace Erskine with somebody, using my ESP here. Maybe, but I think he's got an important role. Maybe we should bump him down a line or two, make him earn his status back, just for now. See how that works out. I don't know, but I think he does have a role as the enforcer on the team, and I think he's got heart in the game. He's not just a businessman. He seems consistent in his performances. Stefan says, Erskine reminds me of a lumberjack. I think that's a perfect analogy. In fact, I think I've called him lumberjack before. He's almost built like one. He sort of looks like one. I mean, you could just imagine him in a flannel shirt and suspenders with a big hat on and his sleeves rolled up and an axe in his hand. You know, Johnny Erskine bringing the noise with the double-sided axe and deep in the forest. We call that a hockey stick now. But he is tough. He is strong. He can take a hit and is more than ready to give a hit. He's slow. You can't have it all. You can't have it all. He's slow, but a lot of D-men are. That's just the way that goes, I guess. Look at this. He says, Stefan says, has to be the suspenders that look like a ruler, though. Yeah, that's talking about Johnny Erskine, the lumberjack now. Hey, maybe we'll start a nickname for him, you know. Who was Schultz? The Big Nasty? Yeah. See, a lot of Caps fans, if they're not deep into it, they won't know any of this stuff. We get into the locker room shit and all that. And as I said, I'm a 7 on a 10 scale of that. But it was funny, man. The Big Nasty, Schultz was. Schultz didn't produce enough for me. I wasn't happy with him. Some people were. I don't know. He was like a John Erskine that didn't hit enough and was even slower. That's the way I saw him. But, when you talk about good D-men, it gets hard, man, because you want to say Mike Green, but his strength is what? It's not hitting. He'll hit once in a while. It's not really being that fast. He skates a pretty good pace. It's not really defensive zone control. It's his ability to turn into an O-man, isn't it? It's his ability to switch into the winger position, bringing that puck through the neutral zone and creating opportunities is what he can do when he plays consistently with effort. His passes used to be so smooth. Did you ever notice with Mike Green, when he passes the puck, and he's always been this way, even now in his dip, as far as I'm concerned, passes the puck, it's this practice-looking thing. You know how people do in practice, they're kind of slack, like, I'll pass the puck up this way. He'll do that, yet the puck will get where it's going. And you're saying to yourself, how can he possibly look that relaxed? I've never figured that out. I would be nervous as shit, wouldn't you? Even if you're an OV, you get out there with the butterflies. He can just gingerly skate and still be moving fast, and then gingerly pass and still be spot on. Mike Green brings that kind of talent to the game when he chooses to use it. Lately, he has not been choosing to use it consistently, and by lately, I mean the last couple of years. Mojo, same way. Mojo has all kinds of talent. He had a few quiet assists tonight. He'll have good nights, but he's not using his speed. Can anybody tell me why Mojo refuses to use his speed? I can't stand it. Chimera uses his every game he comes to play. Stefan says Schultz, the other nickname he had was Tackleberry. I didn't even know that. From Police Academy fame. Oh, okay. Stefan says, must be all that hot yoga Greeny does to keep him relaxed. Maybe so. Maybe that's what it is. I didn't even know he did yoga. I know he likes to drink Red Bull. I know he's got a kick-ass. You ever see Mike Green on Cribs? I think he was on Cribs. Well, somebody did a show where they took you into his house. It was awesome. Awesome house. They did OV's house, too. I think OV's parents, well, at the time, his parents lived with him. Why not? If that's the way they're going to do it in Russia, if he loves his folks that much, let him live there. The house is big enough to get lost in. That's fine. OV loves his cars, doesn't he? Yeah, he's kind of a car guy. Loves his cars. I'm glad he's settling down a little. I think that... Oh, Greeny's Patter's for sale. I didn't know he was selling, Stefan says. Stefan's up on the news here, man. Stefan, you're looking to be a co-host on this show if you've got the time and you keep coming with all these facts, man. Here's another thing I wanted to do for you guys tonight. We're coming up on a couple hours here, so I wanted to make sure to get you some tidbits. Actually, it's been 2 hours and 17 minutes. This has officially become the longest show I've ever broadcast. Why? I hate talking, and I hate the sound of my own voice. They're going, Kevin, why the fuck do you have a radio show then? I don't know. I think it's because I love the Caps, 1. 2, I don't care enough that I hate my voice to not do a radio show because of it, because I'm older, I guess. Number 3, I've always had this romantic connection to the thought of a talk radio show being on the radio. In high school, I used to call the local station, which was about 2 hours away, if you want to call that local, in Virginia Beach. And I would do anything to get on the radio. I would do voice impersonations all the time. They loved me for it. And they'd say, there was a DJ there named MJ Kelly. He'd say, Kevin, we got to get you in, man. We got to get you in on guest DJ. Come in on Wednesday nights for guest DJ. And I said, you know, I'm in high school. I'm working. You know, worked at a nursery after school. And that particular time he asked, I was playing football too. So, you know, I couldn't really make it in. I might have been able to do it one night. I wasn't too nervous to do it. I was definitely nervous, but it just didn't work out. So I've always had this kind of fascination with radio, and now the radio is on the internet. Surprise! You can have your own show, little to no cost. Works for me. Here are some tips I wanted to give you, and I'll get back to you in a minute, Stefan, so please hang in, my brother. I went to a website, and the topic was 10 quick facts about the Washington Capitals. Now, I'll admit that there were a couple of these I didn't know, but I'd like to share them with you. We want our fan base to be a smarter fan base just for listening to this show. Why not? Why can't I give you something extra? Number 1, the Washington Capitals joined the National Hockey League as an expansion team for the 1974-75 season. The team was owned by Abe Pollin, who was also owner of the NBA's Washington Bullets. Number 2, one of the organization's first moves was hiring Hall of Famer Mitt Schmidt as general manager. Did you know that? Number 3, Capitals' first season in the league was nothing short of a disaster, and was it ever? The team finished with a record of 8-67-5. Yikes. Setting records for worst ever winning percentage, which is .131 on the percentage scale. Most road losses, 39 out of 40. And most consecutive road losses, 37. And most consecutive losses, 17. All but the most consecutive losses record, which has been tied by the San Jose Shark in 92-93, still stand today. Yeah, we've got some bad records on our resume. 1974-75, Washington Capitals got shell-shocked, setting a single-season record for the most goals allowed with 446. Yeah. Number 5, after nearly a decade of embarrassing seasons, things started to change for the Capitals in 1982. Newly hired GM David Poile pulled off one of the biggest trades in franchise history when he dealt longtime Caps Ryan Walter and Rick Green to the Montreal Canadiens for Rod Langway. Remember Langway? Brian Ingram, Doug Jarvis, and Craig Laughlin. Okay, let me stop there. Who knows Craig Laughlin? Everybody know Craig Laughlin? You know what else he does? You probably hear his voice all the time, and you may not even know it. They call him Locker. That's his nickname. Craig Laughlin, one of the 2 primary announcers for Washington Capitals games, usually on CSN, beside his partner in crime, Joe Beninati. Yeah, that's Locker. And let me remind you right now with another Capitals voice what you're listening to.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kiersted.
That was Wes Johnson, the Capitals Arena announcer. Yeah, what a guy. Look at his resume if you ever get time. My God. I still got to come up with a name of him to compare him. I might as well do that or I'm going to forget. Wes Johnson, who am I going to compare you to tonight? I have to pick a new star, a new legend. Every time I talk about Wes Johnson, that's a game I'm playing against myself this year. Who am I going to go with? I honestly haven't really thought it out very well yet, but I think I'm going to go with the Predator. Yeah, Wes Johnson is like the Predator. Why? Why, you ask? Because you can be sitting in the phone booth and he shows up when you didn't know he was there. What he does is he speaks. And when Wes Johnson speaks, you don't have to be a Capitals fan. You don't even have to be a hockey fan. You're going to move. That's why I say, look at the film. You'll see people dancing in Capitals jerseys that look terrified. They don't want to be dancing. Wes Johnson forces them to dance. He shows up out of nowhere like the Predator. His mouth doesn't look like the Predator's mouth, but occasionally he will grow those long tentacles out of his head and shake those around because he's just that fucking awesome. That's Wes Johnson doing his thing. He's going to get you moving. He's got a voice to kill for. He's also an excellent actor. He's on IMDb. The man is great at everything he does. And I'm not being paid to promote him. I'm just fascinated with the guy's skill. I mean, trust me on one thing. We need no help in the PA department. We got that shit covered, and he will play injured. He was playing injured. Had a messed up ankle a couple weeks back. Yeah. Way to go, Wes Johnson. Way to handle it, bro. You handle it. I think he should be paid about $1 million trillion a year, but I don't know. Maybe he is. I don't know. Let's get back to number 7, or was it number 6? Let's see. Yeah, number 6. Another significant factor in the marked improvement of the Capitals was drafting defenseman. Scott Stevens. Remember him? Scott Stevens was a fighter, bro. During the 1982 NHL entry draft, his impact was felt almost immediately as the Caps' goals against dropped significantly season over season. He was an excellent player. Number 7, though the Capitals managed to make it to the playoffs for 14 consecutive seasons through the 80s and early 90s, they always ended up with a disappointed showing, getting bumped in the first or second round. Sound familiar, Caps fans? Yeah, not much changed there. It wasn't until 1998 that Washington made it to the Stanley Cup Finals, where they lost out to the Detroit Red Wings. Does that bring back memories? My heart just falls to the bottom of my stomach. One high point of the 1998 campaign was Adam Oates, Phil Housley, and Dale Hunter, all reaching the 1,000 career point plateau, marking the only time in NHL history that 3 players from the same team reached that same milestone in a single season. Well, who cares? It's just stats. Now, the milestone itself was highly important, awesome, but I don't care that 3 reached it in the same year. Get over that. Number 9, in 2001, the Capitals signed 5-time Art Ross Trophy winner Jaromir Jagr. Are you booing right now? Yeah, some are. Jaromir Jagr to the largest contract ever in NHL history, $77 million over 7 years, over $134,000 per game, with an option for an 8th year. However, the team struggled and failed to make the playoffs that season. Yeah. In the 2004 NHL entry draft, the Capitals won the draft lottery and selected Alexander Ovechkin first overall. Wasn't that a wise choice? You're damn straight it was. After playing in Russia for the 2004-2005 lockout season, Ovechkin had a stellar rookie season, leading all rookies in goals, points, power play goals, and shots on goal. He also won the Calder Memorial Trophy, beating out Pittsburgh Sidney Crosby, surprise, and Calgary Flames defenseman Dion Phaneuf. Now, there's a couple things I wanted to say about a couple of things you just heard. There's a reason that Ovechkin keeps edging out Sidney Crosby in awards. I'm not going to tell you. I've already mentioned them earlier. I'm going to ask you to go research it. How is it that people keep saying, and you can argue as to the number of people, that Sidney Crosby's a better player than Alex Ovechkin? I don't even know how people can argue that he's a better player than Malkin. But they do. So if you don't know why Ovechkin keeps winning these awards, even as this group of people keep saying Crosby's a better player, I'm going to ask you to go look it up and report back next show. Yeah, tell me what you found. Let's go back in here and see if Stefan's still here. Yeah, he is. Awesome. He says, always loved a good radio talk show. Favorite show growing up was Don and Mike's show. Listened to them when they were on in the morning, and then later on when they went to afternoon drive. That's awesome, man. And I want to be that good. I need a co-host. I'm still looking for a co-host. I've done about 50 episodes, give or take, counting Truth on Tap and Caps on Tap. But I have been looking, essentially, for my Robin Quivers. And I actually, believe it or not, this is ironic, I actually had a black girl who I went to high school with almost talked into it. And it would have been the same relationship as Howard Stern and Robin Quivers, but because she was so smart and because she was so calm on the radio, and so, she didn't stumble a lot, and she wasn't a person, and she, like I said, she knew her stuff. She was calm, she was sharp, she was witty, she knew how to not step over on voice. Like I'd be happy to give her equal time or more, but she knew how to like dance, if you will, with the words. And that was awesome. But I couldn't talk her into it. She's too busy. So, oh well, I'll still be looking for a co-host, and we'll have a great radio show here. I'll tell you what, Stefan, you're in the running right now, bro. I don't know if you've got time for it, but I need a good co-host. I need somebody who will come on after every Capitals win, because after Capitals losses, for some reason, nobody wants to talk about it. After every Capitals win, I'm going to try to do a radio show, this Caps on Tap, and I need a good co-host, and you can call in and help me host the show over the phone. Now, the only thing I haven't figured out yet is how to have you call in and host the show while I take another call over the phone, because I think that Google Voice allows these kind of conference calls, but I don't know exactly how to set that up. I may dig into that technical stuff. I'm pretty good with that. Even though I went to school as a psych and English major with a writing concentration, I actually worked in the technical field for the past 25 years. And have only recently become too disabled to work. I am a disabled U.S. Air Force veteran, not hugely disabled, and I was only in 4 years, not trying to sound like a superstar here, okay? We keep it real on this show. I was only in 4 years, but I was honorably and medically discharged, and I got a bum knee from the Air Force, a bum back from, I don't know what, football, I guess, in high school, and it's torn up. My back, I like to say, is mashed potatoes. My knee is a baked potato. Yeah, that's about how strong they are. So, funny thing, my stepdad right now is in the hospital recovering from his third back surgery. For those of you that pray, would you say a prayer for him? Wish him some good luck. And Stefan, I'm getting ready to check out of here. He says, and I'm going to get you guys excited now. Stefan says, we'll seriously think about it. I am a tech guy as well. My better was in the Air Force. I think he meant his better half, or maybe that's the phrase they're using, my better. Thanks for your better half. Thanks for your service, bro. Thank you, Stefan. You're in the running, man. If you think you would be up for this, seriously consider it. Take your time, as long as you need. If you need a couple weeks to talk about it, go ahead. And you don't have to make every show. You know, maybe you make every other show. This is nothing written in stone. This is nothing where you sign your life away to the devil. You know, maybe just do if you feel like it every other show. Whatever you feel like, man, we'll do it. And we're going to talk Capitals. And if you disagree with me, I'm never going to argue with you or make you look bad. I'm just going to say what I think, and we'll point out and illustrate the disagreement, and then ask the fans what they think, you know, to help us all get a better understanding. But the two things that I need to focus on in this show are keeping it true, very true, without too much of a candy coating, like they do, you know, when they're worried about endorsements and, you know, protecting people on major broadcasts. And then the second thing is letting the fans get in and get all of their voices heard, not just this selective few. You know how they do on a lot of shows. We can't listen to those four, but we can listen to these three. Well, I want to hear what all of you have to think. I want to hear what all of you are leaning toward, all age groups, except, you know, this is a cursing show, so that kind of eliminates some, depending on what your philosophy is. So anyway, Stefan's going to think about being a co-host for this show. I am still looking for a co-host. You don't have to be a radio person. You don't have to have a fantastic voice. I would prefer that if you use a lot of uhs and ums, start to work on those. It's okay if you use them in the beginning, but it's something you would have to work on, because apparently, from what I've been reading, people hate that. I don't know why. I think it shifts focus, so that if you're saying it too much, people start to lose your message and then start focusing on the uhs and ums, or the you knows. And I say that, I just did it. I say them a lot, you know. It's something I'm working on. I just did all three of them, not even thinking about it. It's just something you have to work on. But if I don't lose you in the message, then I have succeeded. And that's what I hope a co-host would eventually be able to do. If they've got some weaknesses, they'd be able to work on them and get in there and just, you know, just do the show. That's what we want. And as I said before, I'm not looking for a Kev head. That means I don't need somebody who thinks exactly like I do. That doesn't mean I'm always looking for an argument either. I'm just looking for somebody who is themselves. Also, I don't need a designated giggle chick like most radios have. Most radio stations or shows have this one chick who just laughs about every 45 seconds or so. Yeah. Designated giggle chick is a term I stole from my late friend Michael Callahan. Wrote a book about him. You can find it on Amazon.com, called The Lost Dialogues of Table 18. Yeah, what a great guy he was. Anyway, we're getting ready to sign out here. Tonight, you got to see the Washington Capitals thoroughly spank the Calgary Flames. Well, I shouldn't say thoroughly spank. It was a fairly close game, wouldn't you say? But my God, once we turned it on in the second period, we just lit everything on fire. Great job to all the players. What an amazing game. Grabowski, OV in the shootout. It was just a great game for a lot of players all around. Carrick getting his first NHL goal in beautiful fashion, under beautiful circumstances. Don't forget it. That was beautiful. That was a beautiful Capitals moment. But I'm getting ready. Cardiac caps, Stefan says. That's right. That's right. And I'm sure most of you have heard that term before, because they will give you a heart attack. For some reason or another, the Capitals like to play from behind. As I said earlier in this show at the very beginning, Adam Oates and crew need to figure out a way to get these Capitals to get a 1 or 2 goal lead and still play as if they were coming from behind. That's going to be a heavy psychological battle to fight, a heavy one, but it needs to happen. We need to start teaching our Capitals to lead from the front, give us a little more comfort, but not, because when we get a lead, what do? We hate it. We'll just about put the puck in ourselves against our goalie when we got a lead. We like coming from behind. Let's stop liking that, because the fans would like to live longer. As Stefan says, we'd rather not be the cardiac victims of the Caps. I'm not looking to have a major heart attack. I'm 41 years old, and I've eaten too much pork. Okay, so stop that, Capitals. Start leading from the front. All right. Stefan says, good show, man. Hit me up on Life Invader or Facebook, or I will find you. See, you already know Stefan's got humor, so that's a very good plus, man. I'll find you, Stefan. Let me go ahead and just highlight your name, and then I'm going to do a search for it, and then we'll do a friend thing. Thank you for listening to the show, Stefan, and thank all of you for listening to the show tonight. Let me remind you of what you've been listening to.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Now, Wes Johnson, the Capitals announcer, that was him doing that voiceover. And he said Truth on Tap. That's my main radio show. But you're actually listening to Caps on Tap, the daughter show of my main radio show. I just want to thank you very much for listening tonight. This is your host, Kevin Kierstead. We've been talking about the Washington Capitals beating the Calgary Flames 5-4. And I'm going to leave you with a Bad Ace song called Don't Leave Me Alone. You get it? I'm leaving you, but I'm not leaving you alone. Yeah, well, here goes that. And I'm out.
When I thought I
with host